Hello, Wood Dweller GHT! Welcome back to Rititude Double. Last time we began the eXtend episode. Okay, I see what you're saying, Jeez. And, we have a little... We're doing Anna and Salyu today, and, yeah, there's some issues in that... we have no idea which scenes are new and which scenes are old, except, well, we know the ones with the key are definitely new, and the ones that are going to appear are definitely new. As for everything else, though, I have no clue. Alright, hello Zarvegas, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much, Jace, for showing up as much as you could. I don't want to take you away from your obligation any more than I already have. So, what do you say? Let's look into this. When her father was 8. I think, let's check it out and see if we've seen it already. It was 16 years ago, back when Anna was still 8 years old. She was strolling around with the father she loved. Can you hear the voice? I think we might have seen this before.
Anna, this is where Daddy works now.
Wow, it's such a pretty building. And his father took her to his workplace. He gently responded to her innocent voice.
超心理学研究所って言うんだ。以前から超能力とかを研究してたちょっと変わった施設だったんだけど。
It's called the Parapsychology Research Center. It has somewhat odd facilities that's been studying things like ESP for a long time.
超能力っていうものがどうやら実際に存在するものだと最近になって分かったね。
You see, what we call ESP was recently proven to actually exist.
超能力？素敵。
ESP. Wow!
ワクワクするだろう。大人たちもその発見にすんごくワクワクしたんだよ。
Exciting, isn't it? All the grown-ups are really excited about the discovery too.
それで人員を急増することが決まり、お父さんもここに転属になったってわけさ。
And so this place is set to get a lot of new staff members. So Daddy's been reassigned here too.
じゃあお父さんも超能力を研究するの？
So are you going to study ESP too, Daddy?
しないしない。お父さんは研究者じゃなくて役人だからね。
No, no. Daddy's a government official, not a researcher.
じゃあお父さんは何をするの？
So what will you do then, Daddy?
超能力者たちを守るのさ。
I'm going to protect the espers.
守る？誰から守るの？
Protect them. From who?
悪い人たちからだよ。
From the bad guys.
超能力者たちはこれまでよそですごくいじめられててね。しかも誰からも守ってもらえなかったんだ。
So far, espers have been bullied a lot. And what's worse is that nobody stood up to protect them.
かわいそう。
Poor things. かわいそう、かわいそう。
そうだろう。だからお父さんたちが守ってあげなきゃならないって思って超能力者を守るための部署を立ち上げたのさ。
I know, so that's why we established a post to protect the espers since they need protection.
超能力者をいじめる悪者がいたらお父さんたちが捕まえる。
If an esper gets bullied, we'll protect them from the bad guys.
逆に超能力が悪用されたらその時もお父さんたちが止めるのさ。すごくやりがいのある仕事だよ。
On the other hand, if an esper misuses their power, then we'll stop them. It's a very rewarding duty.
かっこいい。なんかおまわりさんみたい。
That's so cool! You're like a policeman, but like a secret one. Here comes the man in black.
そうだね。さしずめお父さんたちは BC 警察ってところかな。
I guess. After all, we are a sort of BC police, I guess.
エナも大人になったらお父さんみたいなお仕事したい。
I wanted to work like you when I grew up too, Daddy.
お、いいね。一緒の職場で働ける日を楽しみにしておこうかな。
Oh, sounds good. I guess I'll look forward to the day when we can work together.
And his father smiled. Anna looked forward for that day to come as well. But about half a year afterwards, she realized that day would never come. September 16th, 2014. The Great Rokame City Arson. The events of the night would later be called by that name. Fires broke out at the same different spots. It's okay, we know this. I'm gonna try to go over stuff that I'm pretty sure we know. Yeah. One person stabbed to death. One was an ordinary civil servant. But to Anna, he was the father. Several days after the fires, Anna visited her father's workplace alone.
お父さん。
Daddy. No matter how many times she called out, there was no answer. She would never hear that gentle voice again. The tears that had streamed down on the day of the funeral service dampened her cheeks once again. Her father had been killed that day trying to protect someone from an arsonist. And I did not know who her father had died protecting. Even without knowing who it was, she understood one thing. Daddy was probably trying to protect an Esper. From the bad guys. Anna looked up to the sky and swore to protect what her father had tried to one day take up the same work her father had.
お父さん。約束守るからね。
Daddy, I will keep my promise.
それまで天国からエナを見ててね。
So please watch over me in heaven until then, okay? For a young girl like her, it was still a lofty dream. But Anna swore on that dream in her heart, nevertheless, as she wiped her tears. Okay. Alright, now for some key ones. Alright, I'm pretty sure we've seen this one. But probably not that one. Oh. Here we go. After she had lost her beloved father, Anna and her mother moved away from Rokame to a neighboring town. Yeah, this is definitely new. Her mother refused to stay in a town that served as a constant reminder of sad memories. Even in the new town, Anna grew to follow her in her deceased father's footsteps. Hello, Deep Von Fecal. Welcome to the stream. She had been left with all her father's property. Oh my god! The French sports car, which she has totally by coincidence. Oh my god! Leads to take her on drives with on his days off. His jazz record collection. His library of books, which consisted mostly of educational and ideological writings. A fountain pen, a coffee siphon. What's a coffee siphon? I've never heard of that. All of those things were unfamiliar to Anna as a little girl, but they were important clues to understanding the mind of her deceased father. Do I have a father complex? I sure hope not. That thought suddenly hit her as she listened to old jazz music. Not only did her father's presence never fade, it actually kept growing over time. But if she would ever fall in love, it would undoubtedly be with a man like her father. Well, I mean, that's not so unusual. Like, everybody, like, I imagine a lot of people's first loves is similar to the parent that's the gender they're attracted to. If they had a parent that they liked. If they like their parents, I mean. Someone gentle, someone warm, someone who protect others even at the risk of their own life. Such men were hard to come by. And so for now,
I'm perfectly fine immersing myself in the memory of my father until I become an adult.
Anna grew up little by little with that thought in mind. And during that time, there was something she had always wished for. To take up a job protecting communicators just as her father had done. For her father was a government official at the ESP Bureau of the Ministry of Education, Culture, of Next. The ESP Bureau, founded in April 2014, was the organization single-handedly responsible for the administration of BC-related activities. She had thought that by entering that organization, she'd be able to obtain the same work as her father, but when she had gone into middle school and started investigating her father's life, she noticed something curious. For some reason, all employment records of him beyond his assignment to the PRC in April 2014 had been erased. And there was an absolute dearth of information on what sort of work he did for the 5 months leading up to his death on September 16th. I know, Void Dweller, right? Like, what could that be? What's the meaning of this? Was he doing some sort of special work? When Anna questioned her about the anomaly, her tight-lipped mother eventually came in and spoke about her husband's work. Anna's father was a communicator commissioner. Communicator commissioners managed and protected communicators outside of the public eye. With that knowledge, Anna pursued her father's footsteps even more fervently. She majored in parapsychology at university, earning exceptional grades. And as she graduated, she slipped through all the obstacles to enter the ESP Bureau. Before she knew it, 13 years had passed since her father's death. On her first day at the ESP Bureau, Anna went to greet her direct superiors. A certain building in Tokyo. Yeah, I think we've seen this part before. Excuse me. On the other side of the door were two men. Turned to look at Anna and spoke up. I think we've seen this one.
Oh, you must be the new girl.
本日より配属された椿山エナと申します。
I am
よろ
Anna.
しくお願いします。
God damn it. I am Anna Tsubakiyama, newly assigned here today. Pleasure to work with you.
コミュニケーター管理課第一室長の黒田だ。
I'm Kuroda, Chief of Communicator Commission Division 1.
同じく管理官の比嘉
And I'm Commissioner Higa of the same division.
ま、楽にしてくれ。うちは BC 警察なんて揶揄される部署だが、無論本物の警察じゃない。そんなに格式ばらなくていい。
I love that she has that butterfly hair clip. It reminds me of Beatrice.
Well, no need to be so stiff. We may be teased as a sort of BC police, but we're not actual police. So, relax.
は、恐れ入ります。
Yes. Thank you, sir. Despite her words, Anna didn't relax her posture at all. The man named Kuroda smiled wryly to see that as he spoke up to her.
まあいいさ。仕事の話をしようか。
Well, okay then. How about we change the topic?
聞いてるとは思うが、うちは BC に関する様々な行政活動を担っている部署でな。
I'm sure you're aware of this, but we are in charge of various administrative duties regarding BC-related activities.
職域はコミュニケーターの保護、管理、監視から BC 関連の犯罪摘発までかなり手広くやっている。
Our work is quite extensive, ranging from communicator protection, management and observation, all the way to the exposure of BC-related crimes.
人員は文科省はもちろん、厚労省や薩長、公安などから出向したもので構成される。
Our staff consists of people transferred but not only mixed, but the police agency, public security and Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare.
ま、よく言えばエキスパート集団。
Yeah, I remember this line. I remember this line. Yep, we've seen this.
At best, we're a team of experts, and at worst, ragtag gang of misfits.
何しろ年々コミュニケーターを取り巻く状況はお前の親父さんがいた頃に比べると
黒田室長は
俺が若い頃当時は
Okay, yeah.
父のような
Yep, yep, we've seen
命を
this.
賭してで
Okay.
も
Okay, yeah, this is their father's log. Yeah, it's just we've read this. Yeah, we've read this before. Oh, here we go. That's not new. I wonder why it
よ
stopped.
うやく見つけたのは
Damn, it's like going over the whole fucking scene. Jeez. My god, I'm sure glad I didn't read the whole thing. Holy crap. Okay. And now here we're actually during the game. After 2 years as the Communicator Commissioner, Anna is tasked with being a teacher at Rokame Academy. And thus began Anna's days as Communicator Commissioner. For the 2 following years, she tackled various BC-related incidents alongside Kuroda and Higa. Commissioner duties had grown considerably in the past 16 years. They were now close to a police or public safety department. In 2029, they exposed researchers guilty of illegal communicator confinement and experimentation. They're going to do it again this year. Victimized communicators were recommended to migrate to government-designated top-secret cities. But there are also times when communicators were the victimizers rather than the victims. Criminals found uses for BC abilities. Empathy, for example, could be used in industrial espionage to gain corporate trade secrets. How would you even tell? How could you possibly pinpoint that? Like, if they were being smart about it, at least, that someone was reading people's minds. And the whole restrictions on empathy, that their heart has to be open to you. It seems pretty difficult to use to use mind reading maliciously in this universe, considering that major restriction that's placed on it. Anna had sought and apprehended such communicators herself. Throughout those days, she became fully aware of the meaning behind Kuroda's words. It's definitely not impossible, but it's far less common than, would be otherwise. Protection and surveillance, yes. Marcus shows self-defense. Anna trained her body, and at the same time, she steeled her stoic heart.
The thought that communicators have to be protected is too short-sighted and dangerous. In the same way that there are good and bad ones.
Yeah, we've seen this. Okay. Mustn't let my guard. Yeah. But then one day, Kuroda signed into a new duty. Yeah.
私が教師に
A teacher?
そうさ
It's such a pain. Anna shook her head in frustration as she headed for the school building. Closed her heart.
新任教師の椿山えなです
I am your new teacher, Anna Tsubakiyama.
経験の浅さはやる気でカバーするからみんなよろしくね
I'll make up for my lack of experience with my surplus of eagerness. So I look forward to working with you all. Everyone goes, yes, ma'am. Students obediently answered Anna's greeting. To live as a teacher, the first thing Anna kept in mind was to befriend the students. Students being wary of her would hinder her work as a communicator. Yep, we are.
何か質問があった
先生、
彼氏いるんですか？
Oh! Oh! Pick me! Pick me, Miss Anna! Pick me! Yes, a very happy girl. Oh, thank you! Oh, Miss Anna, do you have a boyfriend? Oddly enough, it was a girl who asked that staple question.
If I'm not mistaken, that girl is Mashiro Toba, a rank B aptitude ability level 3 communicator.
Huh.
Since she has rank B aptitude, I wouldn't be surprised if she demonstrated empathy at some point. Need to be wary of her.
As she kept that thought in mind, Anna smiled and answered the question.
いないわよ。というか、6名市に引っ越してきたばかりで、知り合いも友人もほとんどいないの。
No, I don't actually. I just moved into Rokumi City, so I don't have very many friends or acquaintances yet.
あ、じゃあ私と友達になりましょう。
Then you could be my friend! As Mashiro said that, the boy in the seat next to her accosted her.
ほら、真っ白。先生に対して失礼だろ。
Oh, Mashiro, you're being rude to the professor, yeah? That boy is not Ukita and Kawa. Zero rank S aptitude ability level 0 boy. An extremely peculiar student with a clear gap between aptitude and ability. I need to observe him extremely carefully.
あら、いいのよ。私も教師になりたてだし、年齢も近いし、友達のように接してくれればむしろ嬉しいわ。
Oh my! It's okay. I've only just now become a teacher. So there's not that big a gap in age between us. I'd actually appreciate it if you approached me as a friend.
ほらね、夏彦。私もそう睨んでたんだよ。
See, Natiko! Looks like my hunch was right!
そうやってお前はすぐ調子に乗る。
Oh, Mashiro, you always get carried away like this.
まあまあ落ち着いて。
Settle down now, children.
それでは皆さん、早速授業を始めましょうか。
Now then, class, how about we start the lesson already? Okay! At any rate, and his life as a teacher began thusly. Rokame Academy students were all obedient, children were honest and bright by nature. Communicator-only environment from a young age, for treating mind-reading and mind-conveying as a normal matter of life, seemed almost naturally easier to raise communicators with such straightforward personalities. But nevertheless, Anna felt stressed in that environment. An environment where almost everyone around her was a communicator. It pained her frayed heart.
I need to acclimatize to this environment and quick.
Anna couldn't quite understand what Kuroda's aim was. Okay. Here we go. Here's the new scene. One day, just as Anna was about to head home, Mashiro called out to her in the hallway. Beside her was Natsuko.
あら、二人も帰るところ？
Oh! Are you two going home as well?
はい。
Yes?
じゃあ、ちょっとそこまで一緒に行きましょうか。
Then how about we go together for just a bit? Just the other day, Anna had met Natsuko's mother, Dr. Miyoko Tankawa. They discussed how Anna should handle the boy.
As the professor said so herself. So I guess I should observe Mr. Tenkawa carefully then.
She had just thought that right now was a perfect opportunity. As they walked, Anna spoke to the kids, all the while carefully choosing harmless and inoffensive words that fit the image of a new teacher.
ねえ、二人に聞きたいんだけど、私の授業、問題
Was
な
that
いか
it?
しら。
Because I think I remember this part. We'll see.
Say, I hope you two don't mind me asking, but were there any problems with my lesson?
どういう意味ですか？
Huh? What do you mean?
新米だから自信がないのよ。わかりにくいところとかあったら言ってくれると助かるわ。
I'm just only now starting out, so I'm not too confident. If there were any parts that were hard to understand, it would be a big help if you told me.
そんなことないですよ。すごくわかりやすいです。
Oh, well, put your mind at ease. There weren't any at all. It was rather easy to understand. Capital work.
それに熱心だし、私たちにも距離を置かないで接してくれるし、他の先生とは一味違います。
Yeah. Besides, you were enthusiastic and engaged the class directly. You're somewhat different from the other teachers.
他の先生と違うって？
Different from the other teachers, how?
いや、やっぱこの学校に新しく赴任してきた先生って私たちに対して壁を作っちゃうんですよね。
Well, I guess it is to be how all the other new teachers to this school would build up a defensive wall against us.
どうしてもコミュニケーターって心を読める超能力者とかなんとか誤解されやすいっていうか。
I guess it's easy to make up the misunderstanding that all communicators are restless, that read minds and stuff.
確かにな。普段自分がコミュニケーターであることについてはあまり自覚することもないけど。
That's true. Normally we're not all that conscious of how we're communicators, but
よそから来た人とかに不気味がられるとちょっとショックだよな。
it might seem a little uncanny to newcomers, so it's a bit of a shock to them, perhaps.
でも先生はちっとも物おじしないから私たちもほっとするんです。
But you didn't shy away at all, Miss Anna. So it's a relief to us.
そりゃ当然よ。教師なんですもの。
Well, it's only natural. I'm a teacher after all.
生徒に怯えてたりしたら教師失格よ。
I'd be a failure of a teacher if I let my students intimidate me. Natsuko and Mashiro smiled in relief to hear that as well. In the back of his mind, she felt a little guilty. She was only playing the role of an amicable teacher temporarily, while her true mission was something else entirely. To keep Rokame Academy students under constant surveillance, to see if any of them became manified. The school constantly monitors students' aptitude and ability through genetic tests and ability level exams, entirely for that purpose as well. Particularly Natsuko, one of only 6 rank S aptitude communicators currently in Japan. Both the ESP Bureau and Labo had recognized him as a top priority observation target. If finally chance Natsuko were to awaken his BC powers and demonstrate a sense of sympathy, he'd be restrained immediately. That was both part of Enna's job and the nation's regulations. But unaware of that disturbing truth, Natsuko and Mashiro looked at Enna with affectionate eyes.
自信持ってください。先生はいい先生だと思いますよ。
Please be more confident in yourself, Professor. I think you're a wonderful teacher.
そうますし。
I'm not too good at parapsychology, but even I think your lesson was easy to understand.
おやー、夏彦が超心理学の先生を褒めるなんて今までにないことだぞ。
Natsuko! You've never complimented a parapsychology teacher before, have you?
こいつはくせえ。下心の匂いがプンプンするぜ。
Man, you I can smell an ulterior motive all the way over here!
下心？
Huh?
Oh, that's Enna, sorry. Huh? Ulterior motive?
先生、気をつけてくださいね。こいつ生来の年上好きで、年上なら誰でも好意持っちゃうやつなんで。
Please be careful around them, okay, Miss Anna? This scoundrel's gotta think for all the women, so I have an uphill battle to fight. And so he sucks up to any woman older than him.
バカ！何言ってんだよ、真白！
Idiot! Baka! What are you saying, Mashiro? That's completely untrue.
あら、困っちゃうわ、そんなの。嬉しいけれど、立場の違いというものが。
Oh God, now you put me on the spot. I'm happy, but we have to maintain a healthy student-teacher relationship.
先生も真に受けないでください。
Don't play along with her, Professor. I'm innocent in all this.
Anna smiled at those words. Her smile was still fake, but at least a little bit was genuine. Ever since that day, Anna's heart gradually softened. At first, she was only playing the part of an amicable teacher, but little by little, she genuinely grew into the role. During lessons, she received students' questions as cordially as possible. Anna had originally studied parapsychology quite earnestly in college. She had vast stocks of BC knowledge in store, and if sharing that knowledge made students happy, it pleased her too. And thus, she gradually became accustomed to the academy. Oh, it's still going, my god. Students thronged around Anna today.
先生、この間の進
Oh,
路
I
調
remember
査
the
について
career
の
survey, yeah.
一つ
Oh, there's
わ
another.
かりやすいわね。
Oh my god.
若いっていいわ。
Oh, wow. There's another one within the very same thing. Not definitive yet. I want to at least do something that puts my talent to good use for others at least. Like a chef or a counselor. I don't know about Mr. Tenkawa's vibe. What are you talking about, Miss Senna? You know my secret. Now you must die. Mind crush. Ah! You're so easy to figure out. Oh, to be young again. Natsuko turned towards the two after hearing his name and their conservation.
先生、さっき呼びました？
Hmm? Did you call for me, Professor?
呼んでない呼んでないあっち行ってて夏彦
No, she didn't! No, she didn't! Go away, Natsuko! I freaking swear!
なんだよ。なんでお前にそんな。
Oh, why do you have to be like that?
It was cute how Natsuko got flustered like that, so Anna decided to using him a little. Oh, good. So there is another. Oh, wow. So we have a 2-for-1 deal here for new scenes.
いえね、天川くんって素敵よねって話だよ。
No, you see, we were just talking about how wonderful you are.
What?
今度は何の話ですか
We're joking about what now?
そういう話をしているじゃない。クラスの男女の恋愛状況についてとか。
Huh? Wasn't that what we were talking about? The relationship between the boys and girls in the class and such?
してましたっけ
Oh, wait!
してたことにしましょう。で、どうなの天川くん。女の子に人気あるんじゃない？
Let's just run with it. So, Mr. Tenkawa, you're pretty popular with the girls, aren't you?
いや、僕はさっぱりモテないっていうか。
No, I'm not popular at all. Where do you get that idea?
美形で秀才でメガネ男子で隠れファンは多いと思うけど。
You think so? Believe me, a lot of girls love the whole glasses look for an intellectual type of dude. And a handsome one at that. And with a prodigy like you, might have a lot more secret fans than you might think. Mashiro, you really got to keep an eye on him. Don't let any other girl get near him. Oh, why are you on that?
ダメですよこいつくらいの趣味の一つもないつまんないやつです
No! This guy's way too dull. He doesn't even have a single hobby. He wouldn't know nothing about nothing if I didn't keep sharing my Japanese anime knowledge with him.
で、真っ白。そりゃちょっと言い過ぎじゃないか。
Wait, Mashiro? Don't you think you're taking this a little too far?
そうだね言い過ぎたね
Ah, you're right. I said too much tonight. I'm sorry.
なんか調子狂うな。なんか変だぞ、今日のお前。
Hmm? You're acting a little offbeat. Something's weird about you today.
Anna smiled at that little exchange. They look like they're having fun. I'm a little jealous. When Anna was a student, she didn't have any romantic affairs whatsoever. Here we go, some more information. Since she went to an all-girls school, she didn't meet with any boys. No. What's the point in regretting my youth? What's wrong with how I turned out? I was able to focus on my studies without getting distracted with love, and it got me my dream job. Gaslight can't keep Kalbos away! Anna quickly pulled herself together and spoke to Mashiro and Natsuko.
まあ二人とも貴重な青春時代恋も楽しみなさいよ
Oh yeah! Woo! Anna's on board! Anna is on board with the ship. Woohoo! No, you two. You should enjoy the precious springtime of your youth with a little romance. I see.
相手がいたらですね。
Oh, if only I had someone to love, though. Anna smiled wryly as Mashiro tried to smooth things over this late in the game. They're really such cute kids. Even though I have to get my guard up around them, they really are still kids that I need to protect. And thus, Anna regained her original pure state of mind. Even if for only a temporary peace, she wanted to protect that peace with all her might. Because I am here! That became Anna's mindset before she knew it. If I had one wish, it would be for a world where these kids could live in peace forever. New memory has appeared. Scene title XE, oh lady be good. What's that? is it this one? Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a brand new scene. I do think we've seen this one before. Yeah, this is all brand new. It was a memory from a little while after Anna had been appointed to Rokame Academy. She secretly met with Dr. Miyoko Tenkawa. Nice to meet you. I'm Miyoko Tenkawa.
はじめまして超過局コミュニケーター管理官椿山えなと申します
Likewise. I am Ena Subakiyama, ESP Bureau Communicator Commissioner. The two women exchanged greetings on their first meeting. Anna had called the professor over to the school to discuss how to handle Natsuko. The BC room had no surveillance cameras, and since it was padded with BC insulators, nobody could read their minds with empathy without being seen. The walls were thick enough to drown out their voices as well, making it the perfect place to hold private conversations.
ご多忙でしょうから早速本題に入ります
I know you must be busy, so let's get to the main problem at hand.
今年から6名学園内でのコミュニケーター管理任務は私が担当することになりました
I have been tasked with managing the communicators within Rokame Academy this year.
無論それに伴いご子息の監視任務も
Naturally, my responsibilities include observing your son.
よろしくお願いします
Yes, please take care of him.
ではご子息の監視体制についてなのですが今後も超過局基準に照らし合わせ
Now, in regards to the system of observing your son, we'll be checking him against the ESP Bureau standards.
エンパシーを発言した時点でラボへの幽閉処置を検討するということでよろしいでしょうか
Once he demonstrates empathy, he will be considered for confinement in Labo. Is that alright? That was a special measure that applied only to rank S, out to 2 communicators. Dr. Tenkawa nodded indifferently, as if she had already understood the situation.
問題ありませんセンシズシンパシーを発言してしまってからでは遅いので
I have no objections. By the time he would demonstrate sense of sympathy, it would already be too late to act.
では教育ガイドラインに従いエンパシー発言を目指した指導を行います。
Then, in accordance with educational guidelines, I will guide him out towards the demonstration of empathy.
卒業までにエンパシーを発言した場合、幽閉処置。
In the case he demonstrates empathy before graduation, he will be considered for confinement.
卒業まで発言しなかった場合は、超過局による監視を続行するということで。
In the case he does not demonstrate empathy before graduation, he will continue to be monitored by the ESP Bureau.
はい、それでお願いします。
Yes. Please follow through with that plan. Dr. Tenkawa kept answering Anna indifferently, even though they were having an important discussion that would leave a great influence on her son's life. Is this what it takes to be the parent of an Renka's aptitude communicator? Dr. Tenkawa was a high-ranking lama researcher. She was clearly well aware of the potential dangers of Renka's aptitude communicators. She knew the reality that her son may one day suddenly become a monster. And I could not even begin to imagine what sort of feelings a mother would have for that kind of son. Maybe I should try to get her to talk about that point of it. Anna tried to gently bring up that topic of discussion.
それにしても大変ですね。ご子息が監視対象となると。
It must be tough for your own son to be an observation target.
いえ、もう慣れました。
No, I'm already used to it.
しかし、もしご子息がエンパシーを発言してしまった場合、あなたの職場に幽閉されるのでしょう？
What if your son demonstrates empathy? He'll be confined in your own workplace, won't he?
なんというか、あなたはそれで平気なのですか？
So, well, are you fine with that?
平気も何も、それが決まりですから。
It doesn't matter whether I'm fine with it or not. The matter has already been decided. She answered once again without changing her expression at all, and I started to feel a freezing cold air drifting about the woman in front of her. As part of the ESP Bureau, it helps me greatly that she's so understanding, but something here just doesn't feel right to me. Normally, no mother would easily consent to their own child's confinement, would they? Once that thought hit Anna, Dr. Tenko sighed.
冷たい母親だとお思いでしょうね。
You think I'm a cold mother, don't you?
いえ、
No, that's not what I...
隠さずとも結構です。前任の方も同様の反応をしていました。
There's no need to hide it. The previous manager had the same reaction.
まあ、無理もありませんよ。確かに実の息子について監視や幽閉の算段を語る母親など普通ではありませんから。
Well, it's understandable. Normally, mothers don't talk about the surveillance and confinement of their own children. That much is certain.
しかし、あなたも超過局の方ならご存知でしょう。16年前の悲劇が起こった経緯を。
But if you're from the ESP Bureau, you should be well aware of the details of the tragedy 16 years ago. Right.
私は息子がアリスのようになることを望みません。たとえ幽閉の浮き目に遭おうと N 化するよりはずっとマシです。
I do not wish for my son to turn out like Alice. Even the distress of confinement is a preferable alternative to Nification.
それこそ母が子に対して抱く当然の心理ではないでしょうか。
Is that not the obvious mentality for a mother to offer a child? Those words reminded Anna of something. Now that she mentions it, my father wrote about it in his journal too. Dr. Tenkawa was once a researcher at the PRC. She had closely witnessed the entire process of how Alice was loved by those around her, but eventually succumbed to enification and caused a great Rogame City arson. So perhaps in spite of her personal feelings for her own flesh and blood, Dr. Shinkawa came to the mentality that Renka's aptitude communicators should be strictly monitored. But even if Enna understood where she was coming from, that didn't mean she agreed with her, so she spoke up without thinking.
博士、それではもう一つだけお尋ねします。
Professor, let me ask you one more thing.
あなたはご子息の幸福を心から祈っていますか？
Do you wish for your son's happiness from the bottom of your heart?
はい、それだけは間違いなく。
Yes, that alone is for certain. She answered the question immediately. She then cast her eyes down and continued.
私は立場上、普通の母親と同じように息子を愛することができません。
From my standpoint, I'm unable to love my son in the same way normal mothers can.
母としての思いの一辺も夏彦に伝えられません。
I cannot convey to Natsuko even a shred of my love for him.
その結果、息子とは心がすれ違い、年々疎遠になっていく。正直辛いですが、
As a
そ
result,
れ
we've
も甘んじて受け入れます。
As a result, we've grown apart and gradually stopped talking over the years. Honestly, it's tough, but I've resigned myself to this fate.
私は己の職務を隠し、世間を偽り、我が子すらも欺いて BC の研究を続けているのですから。
I've hidden my professional duties, lied to the world, deceived even my own son, and continued to conduct BC research.
夏彦が知ったら決して許してはくれないような嘘もたくさんついてきました。
If Natsuko were to find out, he'd be unable to forgive my many lies.
しかし、虚飾に満ちた私の人生の中にたった一つだけ真実があるとしたら、
But throughout my entire life hidden by a facade, if only one thing were to be true,
我が子の幸せを祈る、この気持ちです。
it would be the desire for my son's happiness.
どうしてそこまで？
How can you push yourself that far?
理由などありませんよ。私があの子の母親だからです。
I have no reason in particular, only that I am that boy's mother.
夏彦が生まれるまで、私はこの世の事象のすべてをロジックで解析できると思っていました。
Before Natsuko was born, I believed that everything in this world could be explained by logic.
人の感情も分析対象に過ぎないと考えていたバカな小娘でした。
I was a foolish little girl who even saw human emotion as nothing more than a target of analysis.
しかし、あの子の産声を聞いたとき、そんな探しい考えは一瞬で消えてなくなったのです。
But when I heard that child's first cry, that shrewd way of thinking disappeared in an instant.
この世には理屈では決して説明できない無条件の愛情が存在するのですね。
Unconditional love is something that worldly logic can never explain. Is it not?
あの子がいてくれるだけで私の心は幸福に満たされました。
That boy's presence alone filled my heart with joy.
それからは些細な日常の記憶でさえかけがえのない思い出になりました。
Ever since then, even my most trivial recollection of daily life has become an irreplaceable memory.
あの子が初めて私をお母さんと呼んでくれた時のこと、手をつないで一緒に公園に遊びに行ったこと、
The first time he called me Mom. The first time we walked hand in hand to play in the park.
自転車を買ってあげた日のこと、私の下手な料理をあの子が美味しいと言ってくれたこと、
The day I bought him his first bicycle. The first time he called my horrible cooking delicious.
すぐに 昨日のことのように鮮やかに思い出せます。
I can vividly remember it all as if it happened yesterday.
そしてそれから数年が経ち、夫を病で亡くした時、あの子は私に慰めの言葉をかけてくれました。
And years later, when my husband passed away from illness, that boy offered me words of consolation.
自分だって父親を失い悲しんでいるはずなのに、
Even though he himself had to have been sad from the loss of his father,
私はあの時誓ったのです。これからどんなことがあろうと夏彦を守り続けようと。
that's when I swore to myself that no matter what happened, I would protect Natsuhiko.
たとえ世を欺こうと、どんな罪を重ねようと、
I
あ
would
の子だ
protect
けは守りたいと。
I would protect that boy, even if it meant deceiving the world and staining my hands in sin after sin.
椿山管理官、私が彼の監視を認める理由をご理解いただけましたか？
Commissioner Tsubakiyama, do I have your understanding for the reason why I consent to his observation?
N 化するということは精神的に死亡することと同義です。私は息子を怪物にはしたくない。
Enification is the same as mental death. I don't want to make a monster out of my son.
たとえ見えない檻に囲まれていようと、夏彦が夏彦のままでいてくれれば、
Even if it means
それでいいのです。
even if it means locking him in a prison out of sight. As long as Natsuhiko remains himself, it's fine by me. After hearing the professor's long monologue, Anna quietly nodded.
申し訳ありません、博士。失礼な質問をして。
I'm sorry for asking you such a rude question, Professor.
いいのですよ。むしろそういう質問をする方こそ人間的に信頼できますので。
It's okay. In fact, asking those sorts of questions makes you more trustworthy as a human being. And with that, Dr. Tenkoa smiled faintly. Oh, more scenes. Around 2 months later, Anna began to harbor the suspicion that Labo was secretly conducting human experimentation. She then thought of asking Dr. Tenkawa about it up front, but oddly enough, it was then that she had remembered Dr. Tenkawa's words. I will protect that boy, even if it meant deceiving the world and staining my hands in sin after sin. If that meant she was willing to sacrifice everything for the sake of her son, then Anna couldn't bring herself to ask Dr. Tenkawa about it. Not after Anna knew about her boundless love. Well, that was a lovely scene. I love that scene. That was amazing. I love that scene so much. Oh my god. And these last 3 take place during the actual escape. But let's check this one, the last flashback one. After interacting with Natsuhiko and the others and regaining her love for communicators, Anna put forth her effort into commissioner work once again. She analyzed data from all students, not just those in her class, but everyone from elementary to high school. She also scoured archival data to find if any students in the past had shown signs of enification. But as she did so, Anna happened to come across a certain fact. A female student of this school died 9 years ago. And she met with the fires that happened in Labo. The student's name was said to have been Yuri Katono. For some reason, this knowledge stuck in Anna's mind. Lava was, so why would a fire happen there? I'll go look into it a little.
Anna began a personal investigation. I'm just checking if we've seen this before. She spent a weekend researching the fire that happened. As she fished for documents, gathered information here and there, various unusual points came to light. Mr. Tankawa was there at the time of Yurika Tono's death, and immediately afterwards, Mr. Tankawa's aptitude rose. Furthermore, Lapo's performance improved soon afterwards. Came the top performing development of AG, Procyon, development anti-BC suits, improvement insulators, yes, among many other results. But we had not reported. Yeah, I think this is, that was a repeated scene. I'm glad, I'm fairly sure that was repeated. Now let me check this one. On a Sunday, the day before Labo Infiltration's last inspection, Anna came to Rokame Academy to bid farewell to the school where she had spent half the year as teacher. I think this is new. There's no telling what will happen tomorrow. Even if everything were to go by safely, it was very likely that she'd no longer be able to come and go to school leisurely. If they were able to obtain evidence of human experimentation at Labo, it'd stir the upper ranks and switch things over to full-blown investigation. Today was likely the last day she could spend as a teacher in Rokame Academy. With that thought in mind, the school building seemed all too precious. It was such a nice school. It was peaceful and the students were all obedient. And it wasn't just a school. All of Rokame City was at least ostensibly beautiful, orderly, and peaceful. But the city was filled with lies and deception behind the scenes. Now that I think about it, Chief Kuroda said something similar. It had been right after Anna had entered the ESP Bureau and returned to Rokame City. As she had been reeling from the surprise of all the developments along the streets and the automatic driving systems installed in the vehicles, Kuroda told her this.
Hey, Tsubakiyama. Don't let appearances fool you.
6名市こそが今日本で一番ヤバい町なのかもしれないぜ。
Rokame City could very well be the most dangerous in the city in all of Japan right now.
Huh?
実はああ見えたあの町じゃ過去にも凶悪事件が発生したりもして人死にが出た惨事。
The truth is, despite the city's appearances, there have been atrocious incidents here in the past, including disasters with high casualty counts.
治安の良さを売りにしてる政令指定機密都市でそんな大事件が起きたとなると大騒ぎになる。
But it would cause a huge uproar if such a huge incident happened in a government-designated top-secret city, where its entire point is to have public order, wouldn't it?
機密都市の存在意義さえ揺らぐことになる。
It would threaten the very meaning top-secret cities exist.
だから市の連中はその事件自体をもみ消しただの事故として処理したんだ。
So instead, the city government hushed those incidents and treated them as mere accidents.
確かに機密都市では多少の隠蔽行為は散見されますが。
But true, you would expect to see a top-secret city conceal some actions here and there. But still.
この町の隠蔽体質は特に半端なくてな。治安維持のためならどんな嘘も平気でつく。
The city's cover-up techniques are particularly thorough, too. They have no qualms about making any sort of lie as long as it maintains public order.
まあ、例えて言うなら。
Well, for example,
あなた方は白く塗った墓に似ている。
you are like whitewashed tombs.
外側は美しく見えるが
Yep, yeah,
何ですかそれ
yeah. Oh, we've seen this. Yeah. Yep. It's me, Mashiro Choba!
飛ばさん
Please come to this damn entrance! Yep, we've seen this. Yep.
政令指定機密として Q がテロを起こした例はほとんどないが、結成直後から奴らが機密都市を狙い、そして9年前の春にこのそれからこの市のセキュリティは華やか。
Yep. Yep. Okay, it's something we've seen already. Alright, now here, let's see. At least here we have a small part of it at the very least. D-Day arrives. Okay. Anna and her two superiors infiltrate Labo. And the fateful day had finally come. In the early hours of December 16th, Anna headed to Labo with Kuroda and Higa. They were stopped at the entrance by a Labo security guard, but using the false warrant, they half-forced their way inside. They were given white lab coats to change into and were taken all the way to Area 6's in a ring. Once they had arrived there, the researchers called them to a halt once more. According to them, not even ESP Bureau commissioners could be allowed further in, for the sake of preserving secrecy. Now that it had come to this, Anna was about to threaten them with her gun and force them to open up the past area end, but before she could, she had suddenly heard a thunderous roar.
何の音
What's that sound? And as if to answer that question, more and more sounds echoed forth. The automatic disaster prevention system began broadcasting warnings like mad. Here we go! We'll never be safe from this.
Intense tremors detected in B1 Area 1. Intense tremors detected in B2 Area 3. A fire has broken out in B1 Area 2. Intense tremors detected in B2 Area 2.
Anna was completely caught off guard. She had not expected such a thing to happen today of all days. Was it coincidence? Inevitability? Either way, the ESP Bureau members got dragged into the terrorist attack. The researchers who had called them to a halt began to scatter in all directions, like headless chickens.
What in the world is going on here?
わかりませんですあるいは Q によるテロかと
I don't know, but this might be a Q terrorist attack.
Q だと連中はここが BC の研究施設だと知っていたというのか
Q. You mean those bastards know this place is a BC research facility?
あくまで可能性としてですよ
That's only a possibility. Anna, Kuroda, and Higa had heard rumors that Q had infiltrated the city. Well, if Q may have infiltrated the city, Labo couldn't have just conspicuously strengthened security. That'd be the same as throwing a sign saying this is a BC facility. And perhaps Labo would maintain security at normal levels for that very reason, but... did they take advantage of that window of opportunity?
だったらひとまず出口を探そう
Well, let's just look for an exit for now.
万が一テロリストに遭遇したらまあ完全に業務範囲外だが捕まえられるかどうか試してみるか
In case we do encounter any terrorists, well, it might be completely out of our scope of work, but I guess we can try and apprehend them.
Understood! Commissioners broke off into a run to search for an exit. They ran across a huge fire in the factory. Anna got separated from Kuroda and Higa.
室長比嘉管理官
Chief!
どこですか
Commissioner Higa! Where are you? Voices called out in response to Anna from across the fire.
椿山こりゃ合流は無理だ別々に出口を探そう
Sabakiyama, we can't regroup like this. Let's split up and search for exits separately.
地上で待ってろ
Wait for us on the surface!
わかりました
Understood! A little while after they parted, ominous siren played out. Case N, yes. Oh! Damn it!
こんなところで死んでたまるもんですか
Like hell am I going to die here! Anna tossed off the lab coat
He made a mad dash from the fire and smoke. And then she pulled the hose out of a hydrant and began fighting the fires herself. After extinguishing the fire, she began planning how to escape from the connecting passageway. When eventually rescue workers appeared.
What's your name?
椿山えなよ。あなた方は？
Ena Tsubakiyama. And you guys?
私は副隊長の立花。こちらは森部隊員。
Alright, I'm pretty sure this is repeated. Let's get into the, I can only think of 2 answers. I swear I won't be let any more victims than this. She tried to keep the facade an ordinary person, but she tried to, but a new victim came up. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Coming over here was a bad mistake. Hodase looked at the dead body and muttered dumbfoundedly.
Who is this girl?
Anna didn't know either, but she had a hunch. This girl's close. Look, almost like a hospital gown. Could it be that this girl was a test subject confined in Labo? Here we go. Several doubts seized in his mind. She considered revealing her true identity and using her gun as a threat to seek out the criminal, but that was too risky. Any of the members of the group were either a terrorist or a level 6 communicator. The whole plan had a high chance of backfiring on her. Now that I think about it, everyone here right now is suspicious. If that rescue worker was a terrorist, then Captain Kasasagi, Miss Tachibana, and Miss Moribe might be with the terrorists as well. And then there's Mr. Ukita, a possible sleeper agent, as well as Miss Yuri, an unidentified girl. There's nobody here I can rely on as an ally. But if she were to pick someone she could depend on among them. Miss Tachibana? No. Perhaps Captain Kasasaki. And I had watched Watsude for 3 hours since they had met. With the exception of his amnesia, there was nothing suspicious about his speech and conduct. In fact, he seemed like an ideal rescue worker, rushing to save other people regardless of the danger. What'll it be, Captain Kasasaki? Can I trust you? After they left the cargo room, Anna made up her mind and tried to scope him out by acting like a normal woman. Captain Kasasaki, I'm scared.
Yeah, I can't blame you.
Jeez. Wow. He is just falling right in line with her little manipulation here.
Lost our escape exit and we keep finding murder victims. Gotta be tough on a woman.
It is. It is so tough on me. I have never ever seen dead people or even guns before in my life. Hey, Captain Kasasaki, if the culprit tried to attack us, would you protect me?
Yeah, I promise.
With reassuring words soaked into Anna's heart. And thus as I go back to these memories and various feelings intensify, a new memory rises up from the innermost depths of Anna's mind. Oh. Return to forever. She remembers a dog? Oh my god, is this about Sirius the dog? Oh, wow. Let's go in order. This scene is all brand new. After Watsude chased after Sayu into a contaminated zone. He fainted there and was taken back by June. June entrusted him to Enna and urgently went to go call Kazami. Enna shuddered as she looked at Watsude's unconscious body. Is there enough to knock out a grown man? I guess WX particles are more dangerous than I had thought. As Enna thought to herself, June and Kazami eventually returned. Okay, Mr. Bakayama. Please take care of the captain for us. Alright?
レスキューの人間が一般の方にご迷惑をかけてしまって申し訳ありません。
I'm so sorry. Rescue workers shouldn't be causing trouble for a bystander like this.
状況が状況だもの。仕方ないわ。それより消火の方頼んだわよ。
It's unavoidable in this situation. More importantly, I'm counting on you to extinguish the fires.
ええ。森部、行きますよ。
Yes. Maribe, let's go. Roger, Roger, sis.
了解。
The two rescue workers rushed down the stairs with the raging flames on the floor below. Anna saw them off and left the stairwell, dragging Watsude by his shoulder. Anna panted heavily as she carried Watsude. Naturally, even Anna had to train her body when she joined the ESP Bureau. But that still didn't change how heavy a large man like Watsude was. He's quite troublesome, but nah. I took so much time to feign being a normal woman, and I'm working all against that. That's how ironic. Though she was cursing his name in her heart, it wasn't as if she completely ignored Watsude's efforts. When Sayu had run away into a contaminated zone and shook off June and Watsude, not even Enna herself could follow after the girl. And the reason Enna couldn't was simply because she was afraid of entering the contaminated zone. But Watsude dashed into the contaminated zone without hesitation, even though he was under the impression that it was contaminated with radiation. Even though he had lost all his memories as a rescue worker. And I would have to say it was an extremely reckless act. But I guess I don't really hate that kind of thing. And I knew two others who were like Watsude. Her father and a dog. Oh my god! Oh wow! Now that I think about it, the rescue squad's name's Sirius, isn't it? That name kinda brings me back. Oh my god! No way! Did she adopt Sirius? That was the name of a dog Enna had kept in the past. Oh my god! It had already been 9 years ago since that day, so Enna took care of the dog. After father's death, Enna had moved out of Rokumi City to a neighboring town, when she one day found a dog. There's a wooden tag around the dog's neck with the following message. I'm a smart dog, my name is Sirius, please adopt me. Handwriting was definitely a child's, and there was a telephone number written below. That child was probably previous owner. When Enna's mother called that number, the boy on the other hand seemed really happy. And Sirius was a smart dog indeed. Whenever Enna fell down, he would rub his nose against her to console her. He loved small children, so whenever she took him out for a walk in the park, she would always play with him. He even dived into a river to try and save a drowning child. Oh, that is so cruel! But in the end, Sirius couldn't fix the situation. I ended up having to save both the kid and Sirius. But nevertheless, Enna loved the gentle Sirius for giving his best. However, he died right before Anna joined the ESP Bureau. It makes sense because of a lifespan of a dog. Well, at least Sirius had a good life. Aw, that is amazing! Now that I think about it, carrying Captain Kasasagi like this now is kind of like situations back then, isn't it? It was a little amusing when she thought about it like that. For the first time after seeing Kuroda and Higa's dead bodies, Anna finally found a moment of peace. But in spite of that, jeez, Captain Kasasagi, you sure do weigh a ton! 200 pounds of muscle! Seriously, the dog wasn't this heavy. Jeez, get it together, seriously, human! As soon as the thought crossed in his mind, Watase woke up. Well, that was a lovely little one. Alright, now just to check this last one to see if it's something we've seen. After she had seen Kuroda, Higa, and Dojima's corpses, Anna began to harbor the doubt that the rescue squad could be terrorists. That doubt inevitably led to her doubt those around her as well. What about Kazami? What about June? And what about... Yeah, this seems like a new scene. Captain Kasasagi, is he a terrorist? That question eventually became the most pressing issue within Anna. And then when she came across Salyu in Area 2, that doubt deepened instantaneously. Anna, I will warn you about one thing out of consideration for Natsuhiko. Be careful of that, Captain. He's a dangerous man. He's a fucking psychopath. He wants to kill us all. Seriously. If I get another chance to fight him, I'm gonna kick his ass. I'm gonna become his fucking shonen rival, like an unstoppable Terminator. He will not defeat me. Huh? Right after that, Watase appeared shouting.
Hey! What's that supposed to mean?
Oh, crap. Until next time, Watase! Miss Sonomiya, wait! Salyu ran away without listening to Anna when she tried to stop her. After they had lost her, Anna and Watase looked at each other and spoke.
But what did that girl mean when she said it was dangerous?
She did say that, didn't she? Do you have any idea about what she was talking about?
Sorry, but no.
I see. She looked at Watase's face and thought to herself. Judging by Miss Sonomiya's tone of voice and what the kids told me yesterday, that would make Captain Kasasagi a terrorist. But this guy sure doesn't act like a terrorist. But there's something about that conclusion that I don't agree with. At first, Anna had found him suspicious as well. If his amnesia were a lie, then he'd certainly be up to no good. But if his amnesia were real, then there was a high possibility that somebody had erased his memory. She could think of two reasons why someone would erase it. The first possibility was that Watase really was a terrorist, someone with good intentions to erase his memory to nullify him as a threat. And that's what happened. The other possibility was that a test subject happened to come across Watase and erase his memory to escape the facility. Hopefully it's the latter. Man, that would be very sad if it was the former. That was what Anna hoped. Regardless of what true Watase's nature was, the current Watase was at least an extraordinarily desirable man. Oh, wow! Yep, Anna totally agrees. Chad to say. Yep. He had the courage to leap into blazing fire, poisonous gas, and high contamination to save complete strangers. He had the kindness to risk his own life to protect those in danger. And I didn't want to believe that Watase she knew was only a temporary personality born from his memory loss. So afterwards, when everyone's trust began to get strained, Anna gave Watase a warning.
いい隊長さん、周囲のあらゆるものを疑ってかかりなさい。
Listen, Captain Kasasagi. Doubt everything around you.
周りの人もこの施設のことも、場合によっては自分自身の見聞きしたものも先入観に騙されてるかもしれないから。
That includes the people nearby, this facility, and occasionally everything you see. Your own preconceptions may be tricking you after all.
気を抜いたら重要なことを見落としてしまうかもしれないわ。命に関わるようなことをね。
We might overlook something vital if we lower our guards. Something that may cost us our lives.
She thought that unless she told him that, he might fall into someone's trap. Watase had a tendency to believe others too easily. That would normally be a virtue, but it was an invitation to danger in these circumstances. However, Watase looked Anna back in the eye and responded.
そうだな。信じれば騙されるかもしれないしな。
True. Things I believe in could be tricking me.
それでも俺は先生のことを信じるよ。
But I still trust you in spite of that.
Huh?
リスク抜きの真偽なんて嘘っぱちだろ。
Oh wow. Quoting Chiaki here.
Faith without risk is a downright lie, isn't it?
自分だけ安全なところにいて信じるだの信じないだの、そんなのは何の力も持たない言葉だ。
If you say you trust or don't trust something but you keep yourself in a safe position, then your words hold no power whatsoever.
だからこれからも先生が疑われれば無条件に信じるしかばう。
So if you're ever doubted from this point onward, I will trust and cover for you unconditionally.
Oh, Watase, stop being hot! You already have a fucking girlfriend!
きっと先生の親父さんもそうするはずだよ。
I'm sure that's what your father would have done too.
Those words impressed Anna. Those were the thoughts of a soft-hearted person who paid no heed to human malice whatsoever. However, she suddenly recalled her father's words. The most important things humans have is the ability to trust. Perhaps Watase would stick to that conviction just like her father had. Anna had somewhat started to realize that possibility.
If Captain Kasasagi isn't a terrorist, but a righteous rescue worker, then...
Watase seemed like he could be the most reliable partner for Anna at that point.
Then I'll open up my heart. My true heart that I've never opened up to anybody. God damn it!
Anna looked at Watase's face and secretly swore that to herself. And that was a brand new scene. Yeah. Alright, we've done all Anna scenes now for Louise, Yui, Sanamiya. Next time is gonna be Watase and Kazami, which is gonna be awesome that we get to do them together. What the fuck is this? Like 58 keys here! Jeez. Okay. And she has one way back. Oh, this looks new. Salia going off on her own. What she did after she got separated. Yeah, this also looks like a new scene. Ooh, and this is when, oh yeah, these are all brand new, for sure. Let's check this. It was a cold, gloomy room, almost like a prison. Salia stood still in that room, thinking to herself.
My entire world lies within this facility.
At that time, the door opened.
Yui, denasai.
Yui, come out. And that voice beckoned her.
Jikken no jikan yo.
It's time for experiments. As Dr. Tenko entered the room, Salia asked her a question.
Whose memory are we transferring today?
Oh, yeah, we've seen this. Fluid mechanics, yep. Yep, that's definitely, we've seen that before. This at least has a new scene in it. 3 weeks passed after Dr. Tinkawa said there would be no experiments for a while. And sure enough, not a single experiment took place that entire time. Salia spent the whole time alone in the room reading a book. It was a sci-fi novel based on the themes of self and memories. The story involved a scientist attempting to create an electronic brain with a sense of self, and that process was the following excerpt. Self is formed by memories. Humans decide their wills and behaviors based off their own memories of the past. I still do not understand the process behind this formation of self. If I were to gather a sufficient number of memories, would that necessarily form a self? I would assume that as more and more memories are accumulated, the self would become more and more defined. Let's take, oh yeah, we've seen that, okay. Here we go. This is one process, the formation of self. And as the infant convexes accumulated memories, uses them to further nurture its own self. But does this effect only apply to the brains of living beings? As you and I both know, no matter how much data you store in a high-capacity disk, the disk does not simultaneously form a self. Why is such an ordinary occurrence in nature impossible for human hands to recreate? The novel's content was philosophical, so it's far detached from the type of adventure stories that Salia liked. She felt a little bad since Dr. Tinkawa had recommended that novel, but Salia was more fond of thrilling stories.
Like the novel the professor first gave me. I lost track of how many times I've read that one. Guess I'll ask the professor for more novels by that author.
Salia thought that the door finally opened again after weeks of being shut, and in walked the professor.
Yui, denasai.
Yui, come out.
For an experiment?
いえ、今日は健康診断よ。第5エリアに行きましょう。
No, today's a physical examination. Let's go to Area 5. That would mean that Salia would make the rare departure from Area 0. She was a little fed up with the tedium. Salia happily nodded at the professor's words. Salia walked with the professor down the hallway to the neuroscience lab. Along the way, Salia asked the professor a question.
Professor, I heard I was an orphan.
そうよ。
That's right.
あなたが赤子だった頃にいたフランスの孤児院が潰れてしまい、行くあてのなくなったあなたを私が引き取ったの。
When you were an infant, you were an orphanage in France that went bankrupt.
And so I took custody of you since you had nowhere to go. The professor answered without any change in her facial expression. But Sally shook her head.
嘘。
Lies.
私はラボの中で生まれたはず。
Oh, yeah, we've seen this.
あなたの父親は安住 A 氏というラボの
What new information did we even get?
Alice のに そうならないように、例えば WX 粒子照射実験がそう。
Saw you picking the professor's face.
どうして泣くの？
Professor, why are you crying? The professor said nothing. Only sound in the quiet hall, a soft pitter patter of falling teardrops. What new stuff did I get from that choice? The lights in the sky are stars. Ooh, that's a Gurren Lagann thing. That's a Gurren Lagann reference. Oh, and this is the first one way back. Okay. It's the very first one right here. This is all new. Yep. I don't know. What new information did I get from that choice that I made there? I didn't think I got anything new out of that scene. It was the same scene as before. Yeah, it's not just you, Void Dweller. Miyoko she's extremely small. And she looks extremely young for someone under so much stress. It was a memory of when Sally was 9 years old. There had been no change in her lifestyle. Aside from the knowledge she had acquired from the memory transfer experiments, her life stayed the same day after day. Sally's favorite part of those days was the time she spent passing through the underground garden. One day, Sally and the professor looked up at the sky side by side. Each test subject was given time to walk around freely inside Area 0. Sally wasn't allowed to meet with the other test subjects. One of her few joys was Dr. Shinkawa leading her out to the underground park. Naturally, the sky they were looking at wasn't the real sky. It was a sort of planetarium projected on the ceiling and walls. Though the image changed in accordance with time and season, it was still nothing more than a fake sky. But still, Sally never tired of looking at it.
Yui, 面白い?
Yui, are you having fun?
面白い。
Yes.
空は時とともに移ろい、星は季節によって変化していく。
The sky changes with
実に
time,
興味深い。
and the constellation changes with the seasons. Quite interesting.
さあ、それならよかったわ。
I see. That's good then.
ところで博士、また星の話をしてほしい。
Oh, this is where she learns all that stuff. By the way, Professor, I want to hear more about the stars.
今日も?
Huh? Today too?
星の話や星座にまつわる神話は好奇心が刺激される。
Stories about the stars and myths about the constellations pique my curiosity.
そう。それじゃあね。
I see. In that case. The professor pointed to the sky. She pointed at 3 noticeably bright stars.
あれは夏の大三角形。3つのアルファ星によって描かれるアスタリズム。
That's the summer triangle, an asterism drawn out by 3 alpha stars.
3つの星の名前はそれぞれこと座のベガ、鷲座のアルタイル、白鳥座のデネブ。
Their names are Vega of Lyra, Altair of Aquila, and Deneb of Cygnus.
日本ではベガとアルタイルは特別な星として認識されているわ。
In Japan, Vega and Altair are recognized as special stars.
特別な星？
Special stars.
七夕の伝説というものがあるのよ。
There's something called the Legend of Tanabata.
伝説。
Legend. That word fascinated Salyu's mind. Story created by man. The culmination of human imagination. That was what Salyu truly desired.
ベガは織姫、アルタイルは彦星と名付けられ擬人化されているの。
Vega and Altair are personified and given the names Orihime and Hikoboshi, respectively.
織姫と彦星との間には天の川があり、1年に1度しか会えない。
Orihime and Hikoboshi are separated by the Heavenly River, the Milky Way, and can only meet once a year.
愛する2人が本人の意思とは関係なく引き裂かれる悲劇の伝説として伝えられているのよ。
The tragic legend goes that the two lovers were torn apart against their will.
なるほど。勉強になる。
I see. Informative.
でも、なぜ？
But why?
なぜ2人は1年に1度しか会えないの？
Why can the two of them meet only once a year?
どうしてだったかしら。
Oh, this is embarrassing. Why, was it again? I forgot the legend. Oh, crap baskets.
ごめんなさい。専門以外は私もそんなに詳しくないの。
Thank you! Oh my god! You have no idea how amazing that is to hear. Like, seriously. For once, a scientist who isn't like a freaking expert in all fields, regardless of physics, biology, chemistry. Like, son of a bitch. Finally. Fucking finally. That's probably one of my least favorite tropes of media, that there's like when there's a scientist character, they're an expert in all sciences regardless of what they're studying. It's like that could not be further from the fucking truth. God. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm not very informed about outside my field of research.
残念。
Too bad. You should get her a book about it. Salyu slumped her shoulders and looked back up at the sky. Before her eyes flickered an infinite number of stars. According to the professor, the world they were on was another spherical, heavenly body like those stars. It's something that I know, but I can't believe it. Were there other worlds in the vastness of space beyond that dome? Were there other beings like humans living there? In the same way that we live on Earth? Is that possible?
博士、宇宙に飛び出して星にたどり着いた人間はいるの？
Professor, have any humans flown into space and reached other heavenly bodies?
フィクションではたくさんあるけれど、事実としては数度きりよ。
It happens a lot in fiction, but in reality only a select few.
1969年、アポロ11号が月に到達したわ。
In 1969, Apollo 11 reached the moon.
月以外の星にはまだたどり着いていないわね。
We haven't reached any other planets or stars.
ではどんなものでもいい。それに関する書物を。
Then I don't care if it's fact or fiction. I want books relating to that topic.
ユイは本当に星が好きなのね。
You really like books about the stars, don't you, Yui?
わかったわ。集められるだけ集めてくる。
Okay, I'll gather as many books as I can.
感謝する。
Thank you.
さて、そろそろ終わりにしましょう。消灯時間も近づいてきたし。
Now then, it's about time to wrap things up. It's almost time for the lights out.
exactly, Void Dweller. Sayu was taken back to her room and hand with Dr. Tenkawa. Light of the stars twinkled in her heart until she fell asleep. Oh, more. The next day, a pile of books was brought to Sayu's room. The pile pretty much consisted of only a scientific textbook relating to Flight of the Stars. God damn it, Dr. Tenkawa, that's not what I meant! Sayu finished reading the dozens of books in just 3 days, but she found the materials relating to the Apollo missions to be surprisingly boring.
Surface of the moon is bleak. Even more lonely than this room.
Oh, Stanley? Oh, welcome to the stream, Stanley and Sloom. That is so cool. Stanley, you gotta post it. You gotta post like screenshots or something in the Discord when you're done. I'd love to see that. A world without warmth, just cold rocks and sand. What impressed Sayu more was fiction. Oh my. After those 3 days, Dr. Tenkawa came to Sayu's room for the first time in a while and spoke with surprise. She took notice of the book that Sayu had been reading.
Yui, それ気に入ったの?
Yui, do you like that book?
この本は実に面白い。もう3回も読み直してしまった。
This book is truly interesting. I've already read it 3 times. Sayu held up a juvenile sci-fi book. Story of a tomboy who dreamed of adventure and flew off into space. There she met the only friend to whom she could open up her heart. Story of a nearly miraculous bond born in a far corner of this wide universe.
読んでて胸が締め付けられた。こんな経験は初めて。
My heart tightened when I read it. I've never felt something like that before.
意外ね。学術書だけでは味気ないと思って戯れに入れたんだけど。
Well, that's unexpected. I thought you would get tired of just reading scientific books. Suddenly put that one in on a whim. I want more sci-fi!
こういう本をもっと持ってきてほしい。アポロ計画とかの本はもういらない。
Professor, I would have more books like this one. I don't need any more on things like the Apollo project.
わかったわ。SF 小説がいいのね。
Got it. You like sci-fi novels then?
SF?
Sci-fi?
サイエンスフィクションよ。でもそれ作り事よ。
Science fiction. But you know those stories aren't real, right?
いい。虚構でも。
I don't care if they're fiction. Sayu said just that and returned her gaze to the books in her hand. And that book was everything Sayu had dreamed of. Even if I'm stuck here, I can go anywhere on an adventure if I take a look inside a book. I can fly to the shining stars in the night sky. Tomorrow, the professor should be back with a bunch of books. That thought excited her. What sort of adventures awaited her tomorrow? Alright, well, let's see if any of these 3 have anything new. I'm pretty sure this is old and this is old, but let's check this. I just want to quickly go over them. A few days after the abrupt physical examination, the uneventful days continued a while longer. Sayu had already finished reading all the books the professor brought. But even so, there were no incoming plans for experiments. She started to get anxious. Childhood end. Did something happen? So you looked towards the door that would not open. She had thought that the days would repeat the same way forever. The professor would come into the room like usual and take her for another experiment. In any case, something strange. But there was no way for her to find out the cause behind the situation. Professor. Alright, I just wanted to check. Yep. Okay, we've seen this before. Yep. Yep. That's an old scene. Just checking. Salyu's voice echoed inside her room.
196
Yeah, when she's doing the push-ups.
200
200 push-ups. She is diesel AF. My God. All right. Exercise. Use these physical techniques. Yui, what if I told you I could get you the fuck out of here? Yeah, this is when they escape. Yeah. Yep, when she meets Yuri. Okay.
はじめまして。あなたは私はユーリ。ことのユーリ。
Yep, okay, I'm just checking. Alright. Heard the sound of a car engine with the professor's voice as well. Yui. Yui.
着いたわよ。
We're here.
そう。
I see. Once Salyu answered, the car stopped.
降りなさい。
Let's get off now. She got out of the car, never before seen sight spread for her eyes. A gentle breeze caressed Salyu's cheek. The professor stood next to her and spoke.
よく眠っていたわね。
You slept well.
夢を見ていた。
I had a dream.
夢？
A dream?
そう。夢。フランスの聖火にいた頃の何もない灰色の日々の。
A dream of when I was home in France. Those barren ashen days.
何も起こらなかったはずなのに、とても悲しい夢だった気がする。
Nothing had happened, but it felt like a very sad dream.
心配しないでいいのよ、ユイ。もうあの屋敷には戻らなくてもいいの。
Don't worry, Yui. There's no need for you to return to that estate anymore.
今日からあなたはこの六名市で暮らすんだから。
Starting today, you live here in Rokame City. Salyu had heard that her parents and the professor had held a discussion. They concluded that Salyu would temporarily be put into the custody of the professor and live in her hometown.
慣れない土地で不便もあるけれど、不自由することはないと思うわ。
I'm sorry that you have to live in an unfamiliar land, but I don't think that you'll feel uncomfortable here.
でも、やるべきことがあるでしょ。
There's something I have to do, isn't there?
偉いわ。よく覚えていたわね。
Good, you remembered.
当然。それよりやるべきことの内容を確認したい。
Of course. More importantly, I want you to go over my role again.
あなたのここでの役目は、私の息子。
Protect my son, Natsuko Tenkawa.
何から？
From
もろもろの悪意
all
から
kinds of, yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
ここでも私は一緒にいてあげられない。
Yep, yep.
あなたがそ
Yeah, when she gets the weasel, and here we go. Yep. Yeah.
はい。
This is when she sees Natsuko and their eyes meet.
ちょっとありがとう。
Okay, now everything's gonna be all new. 6 whole sections. Woo! Okay, here we go. Salyu stayed in a hotel on her first day in Rokame City. There she received an information lecture on the uses of arms and various points of caution relating to her new life. Next morning, Dr. Tenkawa took her from the hotel to the school. The circumstances were unclear, but according to the professor, Rokame Academy was the only school that would admit Salyu. It was a little disheartening to stand in front of the school. Dr. Tenkawa had accompanied her all the way to the school gate, but Salyu was on her own from there on. I don't know if this will go well. Yeah, we get to see the school scene from Salyu's perspective. I saw you nervously wait in front of the classroom. She was dressed by the homeroom teacher who greeted her earlier.
そうよ。それじゃ、三宮さん、入ってきて。
Indeed she is. Now then, Miss Sanomiya, please come on in. Sayu fired herself up and entered the classroom as instructed.
はい。それじゃあ自己紹介してね。
Okay, go ahead and introduce yourself now.
三宮ルイーズユイ。
Louise Yui Sanomiya.
And thus, she somehow managed to handle the hurdle of introducing herself. But Sayu was afraid of the crowd of students in the classroom. Once homeroom ended.
はい、ボンジュール。マドモアゼル・ルイース。
Hi! Bonjour! Mademoiselle Louise! An energetic girl called out to her. The sudden voice startled Sayu. It was Mashiro Tova. She said she wanted to be Salyu's friend.
Really? I hope she's not plotting anything.
That's something I would think. Here we go. Salyu sank into paranoia for a second. She suddenly realized something important. That girl seemed to be that friend of Natsuko's that the professor mentioned. Oh, I see. So putting it low is the bad one. Answer 1 is always the new step. Natsuko himself was nearby. In that case, Sayu thought it'd be best for her to make friends with him. Once Sayu agreed to be their friend, Mashiro jumped for joy.
さて、なんて呼んだらいいかな。
Now then, what should we call you?
そうだ。サリュっていうのはどう？
Oh, I know. Sayu! How's that? Sayu nodded honestly to the suggestion.
かわいい名前。それに意味深い。
It's certainly a cute name, and it has a deep meaning.
サリューとはフランス語でヤーという意味。
Salute is French for hi.
挨拶の言葉。すなわちコミュニケーションの始まり。
A salutation, the beginning of communication.
私の頑張りを後押ししてくれそう。
It's like an encouraging boost to my perseverance.
頑張りってコミュニケーションを取ることに対して？
Yeah, perseverance? In regards to communication?
そう。私はあなたたちと仲良くしたいと思っている。
Yes, I want to be friends with you guys.
正直そういうのはとても苦手だけど。
But to be honest, I'm not good at that sort of thing.
何言ってんの？ちゃんと話せてるじゃん。
And what are you talking about? We're getting thrown to each other right now, aren't we?
そう？
Are we?
そうだよ。ねえ夏彦。
We are!
Are we not, Zahiko?
Oh,
まあそうだな。
yes, I guess so.
Sayu secretly rejoiced at their words.
Perfect first contact. I'm already friends with these two.
That good feeling heralded the start of Salyu's new life. But the day's lessons ended before she really had any good opportunities to have a nice and slow conversation with them. Alright, so we're skipping over Enna's lesson and stuff. After the PRC field trip, Salyu had Dr. Tenkawa pick her up. She waited by the side of the building for a while, and eventually, the professor's car approached and stopped.
ゆい、お疲れ様。
Good work today, Yui.
博士。
Professor,
学園生活初日はどうだった？
How was your first day at school?
疲れたけど、夏彦と真白に接触できた。
tired, but I did establish contact with Natsuko and Mashiro.
そう、予定通りね。仲良くなれた？
Good. All according to Keikaku. Were you able to get along with them?
かなり。もう友達になった。
Wait, we're already friends now.
Suddenly, Arms cried anxiously.
博士は不安に思っている。なぜ？
Professor, you're feeling anxious. Why?
いえ、気のせいよ。
No, it's just your imagination.
You literally gave me a device that detects emotions.
Oh, god damn it, I forgot. Perhaps even Arms was capable of making a misjudgment. The professor didn't seem to have anything to be anxious about in any case.
ともかく、今日から我が家で寝泊まりすることになるわ。家に行きましょう。
Anyway, starting for today, you'll be living at my house. Let's head over there.
あの子もおそらく反対しないはず。
I'm fairly sure that not even that boy will object.
承知した。
Understood.
But once they had gone to the Tengawa residence and reunited with Nakazawa and Mashiro, Natsuko objected to Sayu moving in.
That's strange. Nobody told me to expect this development. I thought we were already friends. I haven't even touched on the phantom subject.
The professor quickly departed, leaving the confused Sayu to her own devices.
私がこの家に住むと迷惑。
Is it a bother for me to live in this house?
だとしたら話が違う。博士は夏彦たちは反対しないはずと言っていたのに。
This isn't what the professor said would happen. She said you guys wouldn't object.
Huh?
Sayu twitched in fear when she saw that expression on Natsuko's face.
Even someone like me can understand that expression.
Natsuko was mad, and Sayu had a feeling she knew to whom the anger was directed.
It can't be. Am I a nuisance?
That thought saddened her. The happiness she had finally gained had suddenly withered. In a desperate effort to open her heart to Natsuko even a little, she just tried even talking to him about her role, but
私はあなたを守るためにここへ来たというのに。
I was sent here to protect you after all.
僕を守る？
Huh? You protect me?
as she looked at the confused Natsuko, Sayu thought to herself.
Did I not explain sufficiently? Maybe I need to give more details.
つまり私はあなたを守るのが役目。
Basically, it's my duty to protect you.
いやいややっているのではなく欲求もある。
I'm not doing it unwillingly. I want to.
なんで？
Why? Oh, goddamn it, wrong voice.
Huh? Why?
わからない。なんとなく。
Don't know. Just am.
なんとなくか。
You just are.
でも守りたいというのは本当。
But I really do want to protect you.
そうか。ありがとう。
I see. Thank you.
Natsuko laughed dryly. The confused Sayu.
It's not like I said anything funny.
何にしても女の子に守られるほどやわじゃないよ。
Well, anyway, I'm not so weak that I need a little girl to protect me.
Dude, I could kick your ass and kill you like 17 different ways right now.
それじゃあそろそろ戻ろうか。
How about we head back?
Despite Sayu's sincere efforts to talk to him, Natsuko's reaction was unclear. Sayu had a hard time understanding anything that was on his mind. And thus the first day of Sayu's new life came to an anxious end. She was wondering if things could get worse from there a bit. Sitting the next day, things took a turn for the better. She went shopping with Natsuko and Mashiro and opened her heart to them a little bit. After Natsuko asked her about how they had met at the scene of the accident 2 days prior, Sally gathered the courage to tell him about her weakness.
実は私は他者の表情や感情の変化を察するのがとても苦手。
To be honest, I'm very poor at understanding the nuances of people's emotions and facial expressions.
これがあってようやく人とまともにコミュニケートできる。
It's thanks to this thing that I can finally communicate properly with people. And with that, she showed arms to Natsuko.
だから新しい生活に馴染めるか不安だった。だけどアームズがあればなんとかやっていけそう。
That's why I was uneasy about adapting to a new life. But with arms, I think I can somehow manage.
そうだったのか。
So that's how it was.
Here we go. Third. I think there's 5 of these overall. Natsuko fell silent at Salyu's words for a few moments before timidly speaking up.
あのさ、サリ
Say, Salyu?
何？
What?
悪かったな。今まで態度悪く接しててさ。
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for acting always so hostile towards you.
When Salyu nodded awkwardly, Mashiro spoke up beside her.
いい感じだね。誤解も解けて、こいつは新たな友情の始まりだね。
That's great! We cleared up all the misunderstandings. So now we can bring our friendship anew, right?
そういうことを言うなよ。台無しだよ。
Hey, don't say stuff like that. You'll ruin the mood.
Despite what Natsuko said, Salyu was deeply moved by one of the words Mashiro had said.
友情。素敵な言葉。
Friendship. Such a lovely word.
Huh?
夏彦と真白に問う。私たちは友達？
Natsuko. Mashiro. Let me ask. Are we friends?
まあ。
Huh? I guess.
当たり前だよ、サリュー。最初に会った時にもそう言ったでしょ。
Oh, of course we all saw you. Didn't we say that when we first met, too?
I wouldn't give a nickname to someone I didn't think I was gonna be their friend. Salyu felt her heart pound. She was happy to hear Mashiro's straightforward reply. I've learned something. The key to good communication might be honesty. You should open up your heart and come into contact with others, even if they seem scary. That was an epiphany to Salyu.
Ta-da! Look at me! The greatest chef that ever lived!
That night, Mashiro threw a welcome party for Salyu.
はい、お待たせ。
Okay, thanks for waiting.
Whoa! Holy crap baskets!
素晴らしい。
Magnificent. Food was very delicious. And above all else, it was Mashiro's consideration that delighted Salyu.
ありがとう、真白。こんなに豪勢な料理を作ってくれて。
Yeah, I think there's one more choice after this. Mashiro, thank you for making all this magnificent food.
いいよいいよ、お気になさらず。私こういうの好きなんだよ。
No, it's no trouble at all.
I like doing this. And I also like other people that I'm slowly trying to wind my way into their heart with free food.
それにやっぱ美味しい料理は人との距離を近くするからさ。
Besides, delicious food really does
Bring people closer together.
同感。
Agreed. Salyu and Mashiro smiled at each other. Odd. I feel relaxed when I'm with Mashiro. She had never felt that way with anyone besides Dr. Chinkawa. When she tried to think of why she felt that way with Mashiro too, Salyu quickly found the reason.
I know. It's because Mashiro is gentle and she's not two-faced.
真っ白
Mashiro.
私真っ白が好き
I love you, Mashiro. Not the person I wanted to hear that from, but I'll take it.
そりゃ告白っすか
Is that a confession? Oh, what did I put in that food? I have to remember and give more to Natsuhiko.
素直に感情を表現してみたいけなかった
I tried expressing my feelings honestly. Did I do bad?
いやいやいけなくないよ私もサリュが好きだよ
No, not at all. I love you too, Salyu. When Mashiro said that, Alice cried QQ. A cry denoting an amicable emotion. Salyu thought that to herself as she heard that. Alice's judgment largely matches Mashiro's words. Everything she says seems to be genuine. Salyu placed her utmost trust in Alice. Going by Alice's judgment. Salyu thought she could place unconditional trust in Mashiro as well. Afterwards, they all talked about novels and had a fun time. I think one more scene. Yeah, because we have one more choice to make. Once Mashiro went home, Salyu tried asking Natsuhiko a question.
今日はみんな楽しそうにしているように見えた夏彦も楽しかった
It looked to me everyone had fun today. Did you have fun, Natsuhiko?
そりゃもちろん
Huh?
サリは楽しくなかったのか
Well, of course. Did you have a bad time, Salyu?
いや
No.
私もすごく楽しかった
I had a lot of fun too.
When Salyu said that with a smile, Natsuhiko smiled back. If only days like this could continue forever. That's what Salyu wished. But the peace did not last long. The next night, Natsuhiko and Mashiro got into a fight, even though Salyu had thought they were getting along.
もう夏彦には頼らないよじゃあね
I can't carry you for anything anymore, Natsuhiko! Goodbye!
おいちょっと待てよ真白
Hey, wait a second, Mashiro. No.
And the next day, Salyu herself got into a fight with Natsuhiko.
真白の言葉を信じていないなら放っておけばいいのでは
If you don't believe in Mashiro, then why don't you just leave her alone?
ちょっと冷たすぎじゃないか
Hey, don't you think you're being a little too cold?
そんなんじゃ友達できないぞ
You're not going to make any friends like that.
Those words gouged out Salyu's heart. She had never expected one of her first ever friends to say that to her.
But if I talk to him honestly, then maybe.
When she got that idea, Salyu talked once more about her peculiar trait, about the dysfunctional part of her brain, and how as a result she couldn't understand other people's feelings in the slightest. I love this summarization.
日本に来て夏彦たちと出会い楽しいこともあったけど混乱することも多く時々怖くなる
I came to Japan, met all of you, and had fun, but at times I've also been confused and also scared.
やっぱり他人と触れ合うべきではなかったのかもしれない
Perhaps I just really wasn't meant to interact with other people.
Salyu spoke on the verge of tears, but Natsuhiko replied in a subdued voice.
他人と触れ合うべきではなかったなんてそんなこと言うなよ
Don't tell yourself you weren't meant to interact with other people.
確かに他人の気持ちなんて僕らにはわからないよ
It's true that we can't understand other people's feelings.
僕やサリュに限った話じゃないんだ誰だってそんなことわかるわけないんだよ
When I say we can't understand other people's feelings, I don't just mean you and me, Salyu. Nobody truly can.
Huh?
私だけじゃなくてみんな同じなの
It's not just me, but everyone.
そうだよだけど それでも僕らは分かろうとする努力をするべきなんじゃないか。
That's right. But don't you think we should all still try our best to understand each other regardless?
他人の心が分からなくても努力し続けるのが、つまりは人を思いやるってことで。
You don't need a full understanding what's on other people's minds, but as long as you keep striving for it, in other words, as long as you keep other people in consideration,
それはきっと自分のためにも他人のためにもなることでさ。
and I'm sure things will turn out for the best, both for you and for those you interact with.
そう思わなきゃ誰にも優しくなれないじゃないか。
Unless you afford that kindness to others, nobody will be kind to you, will they?
Here's the last one. Those words reverberated in Salyu's mind.
I see. If everyone's the same way, then I'm just wasting my time worrying about it alone. Perhaps Natsuko has the same sort of worries I do inside. He overcame those worries to say all that. Is this what it means to sympathize with someone?
Natsuko.
Natsuko.
Hmm?
夏彦は私を思いやってくれたの？
Were you sympathizing with me?
ああ、僕な
I don't have that ability yet.
Just kidding.
Yes, in my own way.
Natsuko responded clearly. Alice's reaction showed that his words were the truth as well.
So Natsuko and I really are the same.
For the first time, Salyu felt like she understood Natsuko's mind.
Then I need to respond by trying to sympathize with Natsuko too.
Salyu reconciled with Natsuko and the two then decided to search for Mashiro together.
落ち着いて考えよう。真白を見つける方法を。私も一緒に考えるから。
Let's calm down and think of a way to find her. I'll help.
ああ、
Yes.
They were grouped with Mashiro in front of the melancholic city gate. They searched for the terrorists and trespassing the PRC. Yep, we're just going straight full bloody ahead. As a result of a misunderstanding there, they became a target for security department. And thus they spent the night in a karaoke box. Salyu's life began to take a huge change. She couldn't recommend Natsuko and Mashiro stepping into danger. In the corner of her mind, she enjoyed it.
It's kind of like an adventure. Might possibly contradict my role. But I think I might like this sort of thing.
The adventure continued to the next day. After they encountered the PRC explosion, they realized the enemy's real target was Labo's nuclear reactor. And they confronted the terrorists at the ruined factory. They suffered a temporary defeat, but once they woke up from being knocked out, the three kids talked. Natsuko decided to head to Labo to confront the terrorist plot. And so Salyu and Mashiro chose to cooperate with him as well.
ああ、もうどうしてそんなに二人とも
We get another
わからずや
scene.
なんだ。
My God. I guess there's one more.
Oh, jeez, how can you two be so stubborn?
夏彦に言われたくないよ。三人とも考えが一緒なだけだよ。
I don't want to hear it from you, Natsuko! The three of us just had the same idea in mind!
全く同感。
Total agreement.
And the three kids smiled at each other. They eventually sorted out their story.
それじゃいいかい、二人とも。
Okay then. Ready, guys? Girls?
了解。
Roger.
いつでも行けるよ。
I'm ready to go whenever you are!
行こう。この町を守りに。
Let's go. To protect the city.
Salyu nodded and broke off into a dash. Alongside the two precious friends that fate had brought to share in that city. Salyu and the others walked on the overpass leading to Lavo. Three of them strove along the long distance. Summer triangles shone high up in the night skies as if to guide them. Those three lights seemed to symbolize the three of them.
No, perhaps I haven't yet joined those stars.
There was one other friend living in the minds of Natsuko and Mashiro. The girl who died 9 years ago, Yuri Katono. For some reason, whenever she thought of that girl, even Salyu felt nostalgic and heartbroken.
It's
too late now, but I wish I knew more about her. Because the more I learn about Natsuko and Mashiro, the more my affection for them grows. I guess I'll ask them after the incident's over. She would ask them about their memories of the friend she'd never met. As Salyu's feelings for Natsuko, Mashiro, and Yuri intensify within her, a new memory rises up. Yep, and we have these whole 5 to do. Let's get started. The terminal experiment. It was a memory of when Mashiro admitted she was an empath in the ruined hospital. Mashiro seemed helpless since nobody she talked to would believe her about the terrorist. And when she asked Natsuko and Salyu believed her, Salyu answered thusly. I believe you too. Because you aren't lying. You can tell? Actually, I've had Alice focus on your face for a while. She reacted to your anxiety and supplication, but she made no other reactions, so that's enough for me to believe you. Huh. I say, so that thing's like your own sort of version of empathy, isn't it? I know, Voidala. I remember when empathy was like the biggest thing. It wasn't that great. Salyu answered to that effect. But even if it wasn't at the level where Alice could read minds, it didn't change the fact that Alice was the sole mediator Salyu had between herself and other people. In Salyu's eyes, her surroundings were like a completely separate world on the other side of a monitor. The monitor is so horribly blurry that she could not make out other people's facial expressions. Monitor's speakers were broken in a way that caused all sounds to seem flat. Salyu was left alone in that world obscured by darkness, and Alice was her precious light illuminating her route. For example, analysis of Mashiro revealed that she often harbored the feelings of fun, joy, confusion, upliftment, and fear. Analysis of Natsuko revealed he harbored the feelings of peace, apathy, vigilance, discomfort, and affection. She had no way of verifying the validity of those analyses, but it was probably meaningful for her to believe in them. For as long as she believed, she could feel relief even in the darkness. But something bothers me a little. Unlike Natsuko, Mashiro appears to be simple and pure, but according to Alice's analysis, Mashiro should be harboring some fairly complex emotions as well. Is that true? With that question in mind, Salyu brought it up with Mashiro after they had left the ruined hospital. Mashiro, how are you feeling right now? Huh. I guess I feel reassured since you two believe me. It's like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. Alice reacted to Mashiro's words. There was a cry that signified relief. I feel relieved too. Huh? About what? About how honest you really are. Huh? Salyu thought to herself as she watched Mashiro look at her in confusion. If Alice was the light illuminating her route, then Mashiro was her guide. Perhaps thanks to Alice and Mashiro, Salyu was able to proceed in this world little by little. Mashiro is literally a fucking saint. Mashiro, there is one more thing I want to ask you. If at all possible, I want you to be my friend forever.
そりゃもちろんだよ。
Huh? Well, of course! Sayu smiled back at Mashiro in response to those words. That was a lovely little scene. Alright. This is the last one before go inside the facility. Sayu had a conversation with Mashiro in the karaoke box. Alright, here we go. It was the night of September 14th. A memory of when Natsuko, Mashiro, and Sayu stayed overnight in a karaoke box. To live again. Where did she fall asleep? Sayu heard something and woke up. When she looked around, she couldn't find Natsuko. Natsuko. No answer. Where did he go? He went to make a phone call. After she muttered that, she heard a voice right beside her.
多分電話をかけに行ったんだよ。
He probably went to make a phone call. A phone call! Yeah, that was better. All these voices. It was Mashiro. Sayu thought she was asleep, but it appeared that wasn't the case.
電話誰に？
A phone call. To whom?
有利に。
To Yuri.
夏彦が夜家を開けることなんてめったにないからさ。
Natsuko's really out of the house at night, you see.
そういう時は有利を心配して電話をかけるんだよ。
So whenever he is out, he gets worried about Yuri and calls her.
いないのに？
Even though she's not in there.
いないのに。でも電話越しの声は聞こえるんだね。
Even though she's not in there. But he does hear a voice through the phone.
そう。
I see. So you fell silent after saying that. She rarely got the opportunity to talk with Mashiro alone. So she decided to take advantage of the situation and ask her some questions.
マシロ。
Mashiro.
何？
What?
ユーリってどんな子だったの？
What kind of girl was Yuri?
うん。
Well, Mashiro thought for a while before answering.
可愛くて、すごく優しくて。
She was
私の
cute
憧れの女の子だったよ。
and she was super gentle. She was the girl I admired.
夏彦にとっては？
Oh boy. What was she like to Natsuko?
夏彦にとってはちょっと違ってたかな。
She was a little different than Natsuko, I guess.
憧れっていうより守ってあげたい女の子だったみたい。
She wasn't really the girl he admired, but more the girl he wanted to protect.
でも守れなかったからさ。
But he couldn't protect her in the end.
その事実を受け入れられなかった夏彦は優里が生きている時のまま自分の時間を止めちゃったんだね。
Since Natsuko couldn't accept that reality, time has stopped for him back when Yuri was still alive. Mashiro's use of roundabout expressions was hard for Sayu to understand, but she got the gist of what she meant.
夏彦は今でもユーリが好きなのね。
Natsuko still loves Yuri, doesn't he?
そう。
Yeah, you're right.
マシロもユーリが今も好きなの？
Mashiro, do you still love Yuri?
大好きだよもちろん。夏彦の好きとは違うけど。
Of course I love her, but not in the same way as Natsuko, though.
サリュにはまだ早いかな。
Maybe it's too early for you to understand that sort of thing, huh? Apparently it's not, given what she says later on.
そうでもない。多分。
Of course not. Probably.
ってまさかサリュも夏彦のことが好きだと？
Wait, so you... Don't tell me you love Natsuko too! I couldn't handle another rival! Fucking hell!
博士と真白の罪に好き。
He's the one I love third most, after the professor and you.
I say! Alice cried a voice that signified relief.
マシロは今安堵した。なぜ？
Mashiro, you felt relieved just now. Why?
No! God damn that freaking thing! I'm gonna strangle that weasel!
参ったな。アリスにはお見通しなんだね。
Man, there's no getting past Alice's eyes, is there?
私ね、自分で言うのもなんだけど、こう見えて結構嫉妬深いんだよ。
Well, I know it's kind of odd for me to say this, but, despite appearances, I'm quite a jealous squirrel.
永遠のライバルがいるのに、もう一人手強そうなのが増えると思う。ちょっと焦っちゃったのさ。
I already got an eternal rival! We're locked in endless combat struggle that will probably last for all eternity! I almost thought I had to get another one to worry about! So I panicked a little. One day, me and Yuri will have an epic final battle!
ごめん。
I'm sorry, I don't follow.
サリュにはやっぱりまだ早かったかな。
I guess it really is too oily for you then, huh, Salyu?
そうみたい。
Looks like it.
It was the first time Salyu saw an inconsistency in Mashiro's behavior.
マシロも時には謎なのね。
Mashiro, sometimes even you seem to have your secrets.
人は謎の塊だよ。
Well, you know what they say! What is a man but a miserable little pile of secrets? That's totally what she was going for here.
でもね、サリュ。だから人と触れ合うのが楽しいんだよ。
But you know what, Salyu? That's what makes interacting with people fun.
謎を解く楽しさ。
The fun of figuring out secrets.
謎は決して解けないってことを知る楽しさもあるかな。
I guess there's also some fun in learning how some secrets must never be found out.
After Mashiro said that, they heard footsteps from outside the room.
夏彦が帰ってきたみたい。
Looks like Natika's back.
やばい。寝たふりしよう。
Cramp! Let's pretend we're asleep! Shh.
どうして？
Why?
恥ずかしいからだよ。いいから寝なさい。
Because it's embarrassing. Let's just go to sleep. Salyu shut her eyes as told. Just this once, Mashiro's behavior was unintelligible from start to finish. Salyu thought to herself as she listened to Natsuko enter the room and sit on the sofa.
Secrets that must never be found out. Looks like even Mashiro has some of her own. And if everyone has these unsolvable secrets, that's actually a relief. Because it would mean I'm not alone. It means that everyone else has similar worries.
And with that thought, she fell asleep once more. Alright, we still got these three to go. I remember that scene, the only neat thing to do here. Sal and the others headed to Lava to stop the terrorist plot, but by the time they got there, it was already too late.
Oh!
They missed the window of opportunity to stop the terrorist plot by just a short amount of time. After they descended the basement floors of the blazing building, they searched for Negas and Dr. Tinkawa. Along their way, they ran into the terrorists.
夏彦マシロ、逃げて。
Natsuko, Mashiro, run! I'll hold them off!
Salyu promptly yelled.
サリュ
Salyu!
私がここでこいつを倒す。一人はもう気絶しているから、1対1ならなんとかなる。
I'll get rid of him. The other one's fainted so I can manage one-on-one combat.
だったら僕も。
Then let me help.
No, Natsuko, you're too weak.
No.
ダメ。夏彦たちじゃ足手まといにしかならない。人質に取られたら対処できない。
No, Natsuko, you guys will only track me down. I can't deal with a hostage situation if they get you.
夏彦たちはその間に出口を探して、見つけたらテレパシーで私に連絡を。
You guys go find an exit. If you find one, contact me through telepathy.
Selyu had judged that to be the most logical course of action. But after Natsuko and Mashiro had fled and Selyu knocked down the two terrorists, a new terrorist appeared. Oh, yeah. Oh, thanks. Oh, welcome to the stream, Helen Mirage. Yeah, I didn't either until a scene like this. That's kind of why I gave her this voice. Like, at first, before I knew her character, I just gave her the Burncastle voice, but it gradually mutated into this. And I realized it. I didn't realize it at first, but it kind of matches what the original voice actor was going for a little while. Like, very whispered a lot of time. Selyu immediately drop-kicked him, but the force of the impact merely shattered the enemy's faceplate. Third terrorist threw off his protection suit and spoke.
You again, huh?
またあなたなの。
So we meet again. My eternal rival.
He was the man who knocked Selyu out last night in the ruin factory.
悪いことは言わん。さっさと逃げろ。
Just a word of warning. Get out.
早く逃げないと隔壁が閉ざされ、脱出不可能になるぞ。火星も激しさを増し、焼け死ぬかもしれん。
The bulkheads will shut and trap your ass in here. Fires will get worse and you could even burn to death.
どうやら子供の正義感で俺たちの計画を阻止しようと思っているみたいだが。
Seems to me like you're trying to thwart our plan out of some childish sense of justice, but
自分の身を危険にさらしてまで俺と戦って何になる。
what good is fighting me if it means putting your body in such extreme danger?
Now that he mentioned it, what would be the purpose of fighting this man?
For an epic-ass battle scene, that's who. That's what.
That was already well beyond the scope of Selyu's role.
Why am I going so far to...
Ooh! Thoughts were interrupted by a gunshot.
God damn it, Hiyama! Can you not shoot your gun for 5 fucking seconds?
Her arm felt like it was on fire.
Crap!
When Selyu turned around in shock, she spotted one of the terrorists that she had flung away, pointing his gun at her.
バカ、何をやっている？子供に銃など。
Dumbass, the hell are you doing? Shooting at a child!
お前こそ何やってるんだ。こんなところで孫ついてる暇はないだろう。
The hell are you doing? There's no time to be standing around, is there?
The terrorists started quarreling. Selyu took that opportunity to get out of there.
I can't win against guns. I need a weapon of my own.
Yeah, Hiyama is just a scumbag that he was just way too eager to kill people. Seriously. If we really want to blame someone, counting people dead or alive, I think Hiyama, like, rises to the top of that chart. Really. Hiyama was kind of, I think, like a scumbag to begin with. With that thought in mind, she searched for Natsuko and Mashiro. They found each other at opposite sides of a wrecked emergency staircase. Selyu spoke as the other two worried about her.
敵は体格、腕力に優れ、数も不明。勝ち目は薄い。
The enemy has exceptional physical strength and unknown numbers. Our odds don't look good.
じゃあサリュー、降りてきてくれ。一緒に逃げよう。
Okay, Selyu, come down here. Let's escape together.
いや、この腕じゃここは降りられない。夏彦たちが上がってくるのも難しいと思う。
Nope, can't climb down with this arm. I think it'd be difficult for you guys to climb up too.
だから別々に逃げよう。
So let's split up and escape separately.
そんなサリは一人で大丈夫なの？
No! Will you be okay by yourself, Selyu?
大丈夫。でも根拠を話している時間はない。
I will, but there's no time to speak my reasoning.
だから PC で。
So let's use BC.
I didn't realize that, yeah, the entraptive voice actually does kind of match what she's doing. Selyu said that, hoping that they would use empathy on her. She calmed down her mind and thought of the message she wanted to send him.
I finally found life interesting for once. I just wanted to end like this. I truly enjoyed these past 6 days. These are my true feelings, but I've always wanted to tell you all.
Oh, we're experiencing that CG from her side now. Even though Sally was by no means an eloquent speaker, she was able to express herself honestly if she used pure emotions. I imagine that Dojima was probably a nicer guy. At least I think. Like, maybe Hiyama just, like, tagged along. Like, what kind of rescue worker is so eager to freaking shoot children? Yeah, he must have always been a scumbag. I think Dojima was more reasonable. Maybe Dojima and Hiyama were related somehow. So, like, Hiyama was hung up with Dojima and Matsue. I don't know. Even though Sally was by no means an eloquent speaker, she was able to express herself honestly if she used pure emotion. It appeared that they received her message.
Okay, leave these two to me. Promise me one more thing, that we'll all live long enough to meet again on the outside.
Promise.
On that note, Sayu left. Blood seeped endlessly from the wound on her upper arm.
My brachial veins damaged. I need to treat it immediately.
She said, oh, this was Salyu's doing. She set a trap along the connecting passageway where the terrorists were chasing after her. And in the area at the end of the passageway, she acquired a security card, disaster prevention manual, and finally a stapler.
My stapler. I can do temporary first aid with this, even though it'll hurt like a bitch.
Luckily, the blood had pierced all the way through. Salyu took the stapler to the gunshot wound in her arm and stitched it up. Oh, God.
Fucking hell! Go!
She stifled her voice and treated the exit wound as well.
God damn you, Dojima! I mean, Hiyama! Oh, God. I think that was more painful than the fucking gunshot!
She sank to the floor, breathing roughly. For now, she had averted a medical emergency.
Now, what do I do from here?
Terrorist words echoed in her head.
Just a word of warning. Get out. What good is fighting me? It means putting your body in such extreme danger.
She very well could do what he said and run away. But if the terrorist goal was to destroy the town in its entirety with a nuclear meltdown, then running away was pretty much pointless.
I can't just run away. I mustn't run away. If we don't prevent the meltdown, if we don't stop them,
the city would be destroyed. Atomic dust would rain on Ukita, Mashiro, Nakazawa, and everyone else. Ironic that Salyu would think this. There was only one way to stop it.
I won't run. What I need to do now is not to run, but to fight. To defeat the terrorists and put an end to their plan. Because my role is to protect Natsuko and the others.
A faint smile rose to Salyu's lips. With courage welling in her heart, she began to walk once more. Hell yeah! Great. Yeah, I think this might be a 3-hour stream because, you know, we didn't know what to skip, but that's okay. Alright, here we go. Oh, now we've skipped majorly ahead to during the evil Kazami saga. Let's go. It was a memory of just a few hours ago. Salyu held Kazami's neck and tightened her grip to force Wataseru to release Natsuko. Oh, this is after she fell down the stairs. Oh, no. It's not. We're still not in Route D. This is the end of Route A. Yeah.
That gun probably belonged to this man to begin with.
夏彦はあの銃で撃たれて
He used to just shoot Nazi.
At that moment,
もうやめて
I said, STOP! Kazami screamed and violently shook Selyu off her. Yeah! Selyu's body was sent flying backwards. She then landed on the staircase. The impact jolted her chest and her consciousness quickly faded.
Ow.
Selyu fainted as if she had fallen asleep. In the short time she was asleep, she had a dream. A dream of some unknown faraway past. Oh wow. Someone was speaking in the corner of a cold laboratory.
これがコミュニケーター A の娘か
So that's Communicator A's daughter, huh?
適正度は皆無 NBC の影響は確認できずです
She has absolutely no aptitude. We can't confirm any influence of NBC.
Oh my god, are you Hanyu? They were, but Kazami resisted for the longest time. That was right before Kazami succumbed. Zarmegas. Selyu was actually Hanyu! Oh. For some reason, Selyu couldn't move her body. She seemed to be lying down on some sort of bed, but she couldn't get up. She couldn't even talk. All she could do was listen to someone's conservation.
もっとも A の体内にいるうちに悪意に感染している可能性はありますが
It's quite plausible that she could have been infected with malice in utero.
大事を取って処理するのは妥当でしょうね
We should err on the side of caution and dispose of her, shouldn't we?
何を言っているの
What are you saying?
あなたたちここのところずっとおかしいわよ
You people have gone mad, you know. You're literally mad scientists. Is that why you really want to be here?
超神経にいた頃はもっと倫理観が
You had a high sense of ethics back when the PRC.
あなたには分かりませんよ天川博士
You don't understand, Dr. Tenkawa.
同時多発火災の夜あなたは超神経にいなかった
You weren't in the PRC at the night of the Great Arson.
N 化したコミュニケーター A と対峙していないだから彼女の恐ろしさも分からないのです
You didn't face the NFI Communicator A. That's why you don't understand the ferocity.
彼女はおそらくテレパシーでもエンパシーでもない第三の能力を持っていました
She probably had a third ability, beyond both telepathy and empathy.
頭の中を直接まさぐられ書き換えられていくような感覚あなたに分かりますかその恐怖が
It felt like she was inside our heads, writing our minds directly. Do you ever know how terrifying that is?
私はそれまでコミュニケーターを守るべき対象だと思っていました
Up until that point, I thought of communicators as people in need of protection.
しかしあの夜その考えは180度変わったのです
But that line of thought took a complete 180 that night.
あれは守るべき対象なんかじゃない紛れもなく人外の力を持つ怪物だった
Jeez.
They're not people in need of protection at all. They're not even people. Unmistakable monsters with inhuman power.
その娘に対しても私は恐怖を抑えることができないのですよ
I can't even hold back my fear of that girl.
蛇口さんあなた
Oh, you know what? Maybe it's a good thing this guy died. Like, seriously.
Mr. Araguchi, you...
何ですか
I what?
何でもないわ
It's nothing.
ただとにかく私はこの子を処理することを認められない
But in any case, I cannot consent to you disposing of that child.
ならばどうするというのです
And what do you suggest we do?
無論この娘を外の世界に出すことは断じて認められませんよ
Naturally, we absolutely cannot consent to letting this girl loose in the outside world.
Oh, this is interesting. We're getting to see how they decided to let her stay there.
私の責任のもとに
I'll take responsibility for her
ここで育てるわ
and raise her here.
That was when Selyu awoke.
What a strange dream. Boy, that would suck to be raised in this sterile laboratory environment your whole life. I bet you'd get all kind of weird side effects like stunted emotions. It's a good thing that's not my life. Do. It was truly a dreamlike, unbelievable scene. Because her dream had took place in Labo's neuroscience laboratory. I went there for the first time today. It's already in my dreams. But nevertheless, it was a somewhat frightening dream. Salia took a deep breath and stood up. She then began to drag her staggering body once more, in search of Natsuko. She had finally reunited with Natsuko, only for him to disappear somewhere again. Oh, the scene is still going? That terrorist probably has him. No matter how much she searched for Mashiro, she couldn't find her. We suggested that she had safely escaped before lockdown. At least that was what Salia wanted to believe. Anyway, I need to look for Natsuko. It's my duty to protect him. She decided to do anything to fulfill that duty. Which is why, when she had discovered 20 ampules of AD in the neuroscience lab, she took the AD and hid it in the supply closet for the girls' restroom. She thought she'd quickly distribute the AD to Ukita and Mashiro when she found them. It was a letter written by Enna by the AD, but Salia tore it up since she couldn't trust her. God damn it. God damn it. Maybe I'm doing something cruel. But those guys in the orange suits are probably all terrorists. If Ukita's the sleeper agent, then there's a high possibility that Enna's with the terrorists too. Salia had no chance of winning against such superior numbers. So she had no choice but to gamble on the effects of radiation weakening the enemy. Eventually, Salia found an axe by the corpse of a terrorist. I can finally launch a counterattack with this. Maybe, Void Dweller. I don't know. It's because G-Ace said he was going to be here then, so he should be able to tell us what is skippable and what's not. Like, we probably... probably this lasted a bit longer because I didn't know what was repeated and what wasn't, but... We ended within a reasonable time, I think, because there's only one more after this. So, we should be good. But even with that weapon, she was no match for Watase. Decided the next time they crossed paths, she would do whatever it took to defeat him and save Natsuko. Perhaps the terrorists didn't intend to kill Natsuko, but it was for certain that Natsuko was heavily injured. That's why I can never forgive that man. Because there's no way I can break my promise to protect Natsuko. That promise is the only thing supporting the lonely Salia pushing her forward. Oh. I see. So that extra scene was to show that she was the one who hid the AD at that point. Alright. Love is the plan is death. An hour before the ending. Okay. This is when, she realizes she's in love with him. It was a memory of just about an hour ago. Salia chased after Watase in a connecting passageway. Watase had broken the security gate's card slot to stop her from pursuing him. What are you doing? Watase shouted to Salia on the other side of the closing gate.
I know you can't trust me, but this isn't the time to be fighting. We still have like a fucking final boss to fight, and it can't be you. Go to Natsuko and the others. They're looking for you.
In a split second, she stopped in surprise. The gate shut, separating Salia from Watase.
Bye-bye, bitch.
She stood still in front of the closed gate.
They're searching for me. So they're safe. But why would that man tell me that? What's his goal?
She could find no answers. She tried to keep pursuing Watase for the time being, but her feet began to stagger. At the end of this nearly 10-hour battle, her fatigue finally caught up to her. But there's no way I can stop here. Yeah, this was before her memory got brought back. If that man's words were a trap, and Natsuko's in danger, then I need to go save him. With that thought in mind, Sayu retraced her steps. As she walked down the long passage, she recalled her memories of Natsuko. At first, he was terribly unkind, and they failed introducing themselves to each other. But the next day, he praised her casual clothes, and the distance between them shortened just a little. They looked up in the night sky together and talked about the stars. They told each other about themselves in the karaoke box. And when Natsuko looked at Sayu, Alice made a sound that she had never heard from her before. Huh. Sayu looked at Alice in disbelief. Natsuko, what were you thinking just now?
Nothing really.
Honestly.
Honest. 100% honest.
Sayu didn't press him any further. According to Alice, the emotion Natsuko displayed at the time was romantic feelings, otherwise a proportionate fondness. Natsuko has romantic feelings. For me? Preposterous. There's no reason he would... What if he really does? The more she thought about it, the more frightened she became. There was a happy moment, also a moment that pained her heart. Sayu decided not to think about it anymore. Yeah, that was when he was thinking about her, like, you know, like what she would mature into. But she still wondered, was she really fighting for Natsuko's sake just because he was an important friend to her? Was she really only fighting to fulfill her duty? No, that wasn't how she felt. It was a very tough realization for Sayu to make. She couldn't understand other people's feelings. So if she were to start harboring such emotions, it was all too easy to imagine a sad ending awaiting her. But regardless, that doesn't mean I'll change my actions in the slightest. After all, Natsuko had once told Sayu this.
You don't need a full understanding of what's on other people's minds. But as long as you keep striving for it, in other words, as long as you keep other people in consideration, then I'm sure things will turn out for the best. Both for you and for those you interact with.
That was why Sayu didn't mind struggling for his sake. There's only one thing I'm sure of. And it's that Natsuko definitely doesn't want to die. So I'm fighting for his sake because... It was the only thing Sayu could think of that was certainly right throughout her life of fumbling her way forward in the darkness. My feelings don't matter right now. I just have to work hard for Natsuko and Mashiro, so they could all survive together. I knew that would be a short one. Alright, you guys, we did Sayu and we did Enna. Next time is Watase and Kazami. Oh yeah, Natsuko has barely any, so he could definitely fit in the last one. I see. And of course, one grand finale right there. Oh wow, I can't wait for that one. Oh wow, that's so cool. It's gonna have one where Mashiro first starts to come to cook meals. Oh my god. You look at this. Look at this. This is gonna take a while. Wow. Oh my god. Yeah, Kazami is no slouch either, but at least she only has two fully new ones, I think. And yeah, lot to say. Oh boy, oh wow, we're gonna get to see Watase's mind warped. Oh, by Subject 10. Oh boy. Yeah, Baba Yaga the Witch. Oh boy. I can't wait to see that. Yeah. Oh wow, look at all this. Look at all these scenes. I thought we're gonna get to see scenes of them dating. Oh my god. Yeah, June. Yeah, June has a lot of scenes. Yeah, Yuri has only 2 new scenes, but of course a lot of them are. Oh, her last one, interestingly, is with Watase. Huh. And most of hers are in the past, I see. Which makes sense, because she had a lot to do in the past. In June, most of hers are on the day, in the week. Alright, so next time we are gonna take a stab at Watase's gargantuan thing. Like, my god. Look at this. He has way more than everybody else. Okay. Which makes sense because he is a protagonist, but Natsuko only has very few. His is the grand finale. So yeah, 2 days left. 2 streams left for Root Devil. The next one is Watase and Kazami, and we're gonna try to put June, Yuri, and Natsuko all in the last one. I can't wait, you guys. Wow, I can't believe we're coming down to the wire. Root Devil sure has lasted a while. But I think it's been a great journey. So until next time, I will say, so long, farewell, we just saying good night. You're all the sweetest of hearts. See ya.